Yes, it's time for Type 40 Live, the live stream Doctor Who magazine show for your weekend, all across your view screen on Rumble, X, YouTube, and Facebook, tracking and covering all things Doctor Who from the way back then, way back then, to the right here and the right now, all in front of a live chat full of fellow friends, fans, and companions just like you too. And yeah, what have we got to say about all of that? Did it tell us it hasn't stopped us? Us cheeky podcasters, we're back anyway. Sorry, Russell. Sorry, Pete. We're still answering back, thinking and speaking free on another big hoo-ha, including our preview of the next episode. That's on the starting grid. Come and join in with Type 40 live here and now. And the mess that people make of this place when you're not around. Look at the state of this, all this junk. And I don't know, where are we? Which console room is this? We'll find out as we get stuck in, get traveling. We've got a lot to cover. As always, we've got a panel packed with pundits ready to get stuck in as well. And lots of comments. Yeah, have we? He says confidently. Lots of comments there in the live chat on Rumble, X, YouTube, and Facebook from you, fellow travelers. With on all things Doctor Who across the Whoniverse. So yeah, where can we possibly start with all of that? We've got a list of things to get into, lots of points to hit, as well of lots of golden pasts to revisit as well. So more of the same and lots more besides. Let's bring them all in, shall we? If you want to bring the comments too, please get started on those, and we'll bring them in when we can. Who is first to join me here? There is plenty of leg room and one chair, but we have a lot of people to bring on. First of all, I'm happy to say, now I did wonder if he was on last week, he never mentioned anything about it. I did wonder if Simon Horton hasn't actually secured a new position of some sort, maybe with British Airways or something like that, because he appears to be sporting patriotic regalia. Let's find out. What's going on, Simon?
I haven't joined British Airways. No, look, it's my Union flag tie because it's VE Day. Of course it is. And we're only going to be celebrating the 80th anniversary of VE Day once. And so here I am in my patriotic. And I have to say, little Lenny Beans, let go of your blanket, pal. Little Lenny Beans is also here in his little patriotic. Put your head up, show the people. He's got his little neckerchief on. He's got his little patriotic neckerchief on. No, he's too busy eating his blanket to talk to you. I'm sorry, Dan. You're just not interesting enough for him.
Well, it's not the first time I've had that reception. Yeah, we will never surrender, and we will fight them on the beaches. We will that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Indeed. And there was big celebrations. There was big VA celebrations down in town today. So I was down in town, and so I'm still dressed up. Because everybody was dressed up for VE Day. So it was all good. All good.
I imagine you've only just taken off the bowler hat and maybe had one of those big drums in front of you.
I couldn't possibly say that.
Let's bring some more and see how they're dressed and what's going on there overseas across the Atlantic with the retro doc. Gary Akers, which colours is he sporting?
You know what? I remembered it was VE Day, but I am not as perceptive as Simon to actually dress. No, I was going to say, you realize you had the right outfit. I don't think I had the right red, white, and blue outfit.
You have exactly the right outfit to match our background splat there, though, Gary. You're looking minty fresh.
Well, I mean, and I'm really glad to hear that everybody is celebrating VE Day. It's like, what a tremendous, I mean, that's, if you're going to mark something, I'm glad people haven't let it,
we gave collectively, we gave the real Nazis a good idea, didn't we? 18 years ago. Fantastic stuff. It's great to have you back, Gary. Even if you are sporting the colours of Star Trek, we will forgive you.
Well, there's a little bit of, I guess there's some red and blue in there. Yeah, after most of my computer problems that prevented me from being here last week are solved, and I really missed all of you, and I'm so happy to be back.
Oh, lovely to have you back, Gary.
Thank you.
If you missed us, you probably missed her as well, didn't you? Here she is, Charlotte.
Of course I did.
I've got to say, here's the tip. If you're feeling miserable, listen to music from that time period, because we're doing work today and in the background I had like put your troubles in your tarpon
Pick up your
bag,
troubles.
and
Smile,
all
smile.
those were blaring in the classroom, and it just put a massive smile on my face.
I love
Yeah,
40s
quite right.
music. I love 40s music.
Oh, it's fantastic. And for the VE celebrations that I was involved in today, yeah, they got some singers there. They got music playing, 5'2", Eyes of Blue, all that stuff. It was brilliant, Charlotte. You're right. The music is just such feel-good stuff. It's great.
Yeah, and it's
brilliant.
just, it's whatever the subject is, just has that upbeat sort of like the brass. I can't speak tonight.
Yes.
The brass band and like that. Even when it's a bit of a miserable song, it still has that air. So
I tell you what, Charlotte, they can keep Sabrina Carpenter. It's Vera Lynn all the way for me.
Yeah, we had that. We had the Over the Cliffs.
Yes.
I wonder which one he prefers, Matt Pott, whether he prefers Vera Lynn or Sabrina Carpenter or Lady Gaga or the other one, Miley Cyrus. Let's find out.
Vera Lynn. I like
Vera Lynn.
Yeah, I'm a Vera Lynn fan. Yeah. She actually discovered Norman Wisdom. I don't know if you know that, but she did.
Did she?
Did?
Didn't know that.
Yep.
I like the Andrews sisters. Yeah, I like the Andrews.
And hello to Charlie there. I see Charlie there on Matt's.
Yeah, it's Bring Your Dog Day today, isn't it?
Hello, yes, hello.
Come and say hello to Charlie. Say hello to Charlie. There we go.
The dogs are all here.
There's his little neckerchief. We finally get to see his little neckerchief. Yeah, there we are. Charlie.
Cute.
Brilliant. Excellent stuff. And we've even more people to bring in. I'm happy to say as well that we've got a real winner amongst us. Heaven knows what kind of a few days he's had. Allegedly, he's sobered up. Yes, and he's back home as well. But is he a victor or not? We'll find out as the conversation goes on. Welcome back, Luke Walters.
And then I thought I'd blow some white smoke because we got a new pope. We have an American.
Oh, very good.
Gary is the pope. All hail Gary. Yeah, I'm still
recovering. Trump. That's what we need to know.
It's still recovering, but I am good. The fish in Guinness was heavy, very, very heavy. We celebrated on our last night. We all had a bit of lobster, which was the first. We celebrated with lobster and Guinness. It was a very, very successful weekend, a busy weekend, but it was very good. And we managed to watch Doctor Who in Ireland through means. So yeah, we probably saw it about 6 months before everyone else in the country. So yeah, it was a great weekend. Thank you. It was great.
You know what, Luke? If I actually do become the Pope, I'm going to arrange to have like a special live Type 40 live stream live from the Vatican. That's going to happen.
Yes,
that will happen if I become.
I'll do it. I want to go to Rome anyway, so why not? They kept saying live from St. Peter's Square, and there was thousands of people there. But obviously, there's a St. Peter's Square in Manchester, which is very, very, very different vibes actually. From loads of Catholics to complete crackheads, it's very different vibes. So,
yeah,
who knows?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I bet Mr. TARDIS has never had the Pope on, has he? We'll sort him out of that. I don't know if you noticed this console room here. It does look suspiciously not like the real TARDIS, does it? Given the fact that the Doctor can't get anywhere near the console because somebody has put a load of plexiglass up around it there. So has anybody seen this picture? Do you know where this is from?
This is your front
Peterborough,
room, isn't it?
It's the Peter.
It's one of these exhibit things.
It's the Peterborough Museum, isn't it? They've gone full Doctor Who.
Yeah.
They have indeed gone full Doctor Who. So if you look around, there's Time Lord outfits, headgear, soldiers, the Cybermen in the background, the TARDIS itself there, and an original TARDIS console room just set in the dead center of the room. No touchy, sadly. But you can see this, at least, if you head over to Peterborough here. This is a Peterborough Museum and Art Gallery on 51 Priest Gate in Peterborough. So this is a good about 70 miles out of North London, isn't it, in Cambridgeshire? It's a historic city. Dates back to the Bronze Age. And like Lichfield, Simon, it's very noted for its cathedral, isn't it? That's what I always think of when I hear of Peterborough. But in this instance, yeah, you're quite right, Luke. It is actually going to be the home of Adventures in Time and Space, an unofficial Doctor Who exhibition, which runs from the 3rd of May all the way through to early November. Then this really quite striking poster with a Dalek that's not like any other Dalek we've ever seen. But then again, it has to be probably a certain amount different because it's very unofficial, isn't it? But now this is good stuff. And when you look at pictures from this, which are all over social media since it opened, it looks like they're sort of going the extra mile there for what is a period building in the art gallery. So I've been following this a little because although we've been to official events, and it's nice to know when things are official. But I think that Doctor Who haven't been around for so long, Simon, that there's so much that exists that's outside of the BBC sort of purview remit and a level of creativity that they can't possibly go with. But often the unofficial events are as good, if not better, aren't they? And they couldn't deliver something as beautiful as this, these surroundings. You get some really sort of bland convention centre, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. It is fantastic. Do we know how many of the sort of props are and the costumes are original? And the console that you were showing earlier, do we know where they've had the console from?
Well, the console, believe it or not, the console was made by students.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a full size replica made by university students from the Anglian Ruskin University there. Full scale, authentic, everything.
I was going to say, it looks very accurate. That does to the original console.
When I first saw it, I just assumed that it was the same one from Adventures in Space and Time, Charlotte, that they just sort of hocked it up the road a little, but apparently it's made by the students.
Well, yeah, and it's not just that it has the look; it's all the little details.
Yeah,
which is impressive, and like the glass part, like that looks nearly identical.
Yes, it does, and they've even got the basket at the bottom, Charlotte, which is really difficult to get hold of. I'm just amazed.
Maybe that's 3D printed.
This just shows, like, this is what I do adore. This just shows, like, when you get fans being allowed just to have fun and do what they want, they can create beautiful things like this.
I mean, the colour's off. Let's not give them too much credit. The colour's
You're quite right,
Come
Luke.
on.
Not pale green.
I think they've
it's
on the
American
side of
over.
caution. I think they've been very cautious there and gone somewhere between the white and the pale green that's favoured by so many of us. But no, I just love the fun of this and the idea that you can take a period building.
I saw this on social media, you're right, Dan, and I loved the way they'd used that archway and painted it blue. It's just fantastic.
Now, most of these items that are on display have come from the collection of one man, Derek Handley, and he's the curator too. So we've got Daleks, as you would expect there, from various era of the show, as well as other costumes and props. I mean, the classic and new. So there's a Mordred Undead and a Weeping Angel, a Sycorax guy, the Clockwork. So there's lots and lots there. Some of it is bigger than others. There's a very impressive Emperor Dalek. If you took the lights down low on that, that would be, the cleaning lady come across that and they haven't, they just left the main eye stuck on. That would probably freak her out a touch, wouldn't it? And there's so much to see. I mean, just look at some of these masks and weapons and things like that, Matt. I'm spotting a lot of McCoy stuff there.
Yeah. Half that'd be walking out the door if it's not bolted down, I tell you.
And do we know, Dan, are these, for example, that we're looking at, are these kind of original? Are they repros? Do you know at this stage?
Most of them are original. Derek Handley's a lifelong collector of this stuff, so most of them are original. Yeah.
Wow.
I love that Terminus guard.
Yes. Yeah, it's really impressive. I mean, I love the Leisure Hive outfit. I'm a bit upset by Leisure Hive.
That wig, I reckon I could take that wig out.
I love the mixture because, like, you've got the Autons from that first episode, Rose. You've got, like you said, you can see the classic monsters there. You've got Davros. I think that's from Modern Who. That looks like a Davros head to me from Modern. And that just to have them next to each other is such a lovely sight. That's what I've said this before. I loved about when Cardiff still had the Doctor Who experience, that you could just see how certain creatures keep a certain likeness and how others change, and just to have that, I think such an important thing to keep.
And you know what?
To Kane, Charlotte.
Oh yeah,
the Melty Man.
Yes. And one of the things I love about this is look at the background there. They've even managed to recreate that background, that sort of triangular background that was just on every set, every Doctor Who set in sort of the late 70s through to the 80s. It was just in every single serial somewhere. So they've even, I'm assuming that's not going to be original, or it could be. I would imagine it's a reproduction. But I love the fact that they've reproduced that. It's brilliant.
Love that Hamivore on the top shelf. From,
Yeah.
Curse of Fenric. That's fantastic.
Half mask. I'm not sure what the contraption is on the second shelf down, Luke, on the left. Can't quite recognize that.
No, if I get any closer to my screen, I think you'll all have an eye full of me, and that's nobody wants that. Jesus Christ.
I vaguely recognise that. I recognise it. I just can't. You're right, Dan. I can't quite place it. Somebody in the chats will tell us what that is.
There's the Doctor's costume there. Well, the first Doctor's costume from Twice Upon a Time, alongside various other outfits, including a rogue Doctor on the far right there.
Yes.
That was the one.
Here's the people there.
Yeah,
is Rowan
that's
Atkinson's.
Jim Broadbent's outfit, isn't it?
Yeah,
Jim Broadbent, is it? Oh, okay.
yeah, I think you're right. But
Is that the tunic from the Crusade there?
is it? I'm blown away by the fact. Is that really an original Ark in Space outfit? A tunic at the front there?
Oh, it does.
Marco
it's got
Polo's tunic? That can't be original.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Which one are you looking at, Gary?
There's right behind Vira's tunic is Marco Polo's tunic.
What? And then you've got the brig at the back. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Surely not.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the sign says.
You're quite right. It does. Wow. I mean, and is that the original Briggs outfit, or is it certainly an original unit jacket from the late?
Well, they're
60s, early
dated.
70s?
They are dated. If you can see, there are dates on there. They're not very legible, but you can actually see the dates are actually on there for those. So.
I mean, if those are originals, I'm just blown away. I'm going to have to get down to this exhibition. No two ways about it.
Yeah.
Charlotte?
The amount of trust this guy's giving, that this is like, you can tell he spent probably years and years of his life, a lot of money, a lot of like tracking these down properly and finding them in auctions, I would guess. And he's just sort of letting them be out on the public. Like, wow.
To have something survive. Because these costumes, obviously, they weren't made to last. They were made to be on screen for a few short weeks. In the case of one of them, 60-odd years ago. So to see it survive and still look quite vivid and not threadbare really is something. Talking about not threadbare, Peter Purvis, he was there, the veteran TV star and presenter, 86 years of age now, still very nimbly cutting the blue ribbon there to officially open the exhibition. I think that's Lee Sullivan behind him as well. The artist Dominic Glynn is right behind Peter Purvis. I recognise Dominic. I'm sorry, Dom, if you're watching, mate. Dominic is a friend of the show, but I recognise the top of his head. So there they all are gathered around Peter Purvis for the grand opening there at Peterborough of this adventure in space and time. And of course, Peter was there with his pics, signing posters, and being the TV legend that he is, not just from all those years on Blue Peter and presenting Crufts and things, but obviously as Stephen Taylor on Doctor Who between 65 and 66, was it, Simon's? About that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 66.
Yeah, the Savages postcards. And there's one of those pictures there from the memory TARDIS. So he's obviously embracing his presence. It's a good job he doesn't know, Charlotte, about that we're going to put him in a cow's outfit in the one story.
Don't get me started again on that.
I really hope that this exhibition is a big success. It really deserves to be.
Oh, it will be.
So do I. It's only open until November, but then again, that's quite a long stretch of time, Luke, I think, to get yourself to Peterborough. 70 miles outside of London, yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, me and the boys were debating it when we were in the midst, and we didn't realise how far south Peterborough is, and we were like, "Oh, it's a 3-hour drive from Manchester." And so, yeah, I think we probably will. I think Mr. Carley will end up driving us, as he is the designated driver of the group. So I think we will be making an appearance at some point in the near future. So yeah, I can't wait. Looks as if that's one guy's collection as well. That's absolutely mental. That's absolutely mental. Fair play.
He's the curator.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think most of it is, isn't it? It's been sort of augmented. Peter Purvis is not part of Derek Handley's collection. Well, not yet. Anyway, I don't think it's ruled it out at some point in the future. So this is Adventures in Time and Space between the 3rd of May and the 2nd of November 2025 at Peterborough Museum. They've decided to open 6 days a week to take in as many people as they possibly can for this. And the blurb says, see one of the largest displays of restored and surviving props, costumes, spaceships, models, masks, and weapons, and even that full-scale replica of the TARDIS. And it's all going to be it's all been brought back to life by collectors and special effects technicians. You can choose whether you have a morning ticket, a midday ticket, or an afternoon ticket. And so there's lots of ways that you can sort of get over there, get involved, and enjoy not just the museum itself, but spend a bit of time in Peterborough as well. It really is a beautiful place by the looks of things.
Sorry, did I miss it, Dan? Is it free or is it costing?
No, you do have to book a ticket. So yeah, it's not free. But it says we advise people to book in advance via the website if you don't want to miss out. Okay. Yeah, heaven knows what would happen then. Look up the pictures. Yes, so I think that's fantastic that's happening, because since the experience closed, obviously there's been things popping up here and there, like Worlds of Wonder, traveling not just the country but the globe, but something like that in a historic British place like that. I think that's absolutely brilliant. Talking about making history, I don't think we can go too much further without mentioning this, offering hearty congratulations to Cinescope Pictures. That's you, Luke. So you went over to Ireland, didn't you, over the weekend just gone? You and an assortment of other people from Cinescope, largely there representing your two very successful, very well received films, weren't you? So how did this play out for you in the end? Because you were over there, you were nominated, so you all trekked over, didn't you? And what sort of a reception did you have? And did you come away with anything apart from the hangover?
Yeah, no, it was good. So actually, it wasn't War of the Worlds, it was Hooligans. So I Made the Time Machine and Hooligans. Yeah, I Made the Time Machine and Hooligans we went over there for.
There you go.
War of the Worlds already won over there last year, not to blow my own trumpet.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it was good. So we went over there. It was myself, Mr. Carley, who plays time traveling H.G. Wells, James, Elizabeth, Rob Peters, John Stewart, and Jamie Carroll. Because collectively we all worked on Hooligans, apart from John Carley. If Big Finish is watching, he had nothing to do with it, unless you got a really keen ear. But yes, we all went over there for the May the 4th Sci-Fi Film Festival and Awards and Gala. We screened the hour-long omnibus TV movie special version of Hooligans that no one's ever seen before. So it premiered over there, and we played I Made the Time Machine. And yeah, we did pretty well. We arrived by ferry every day, which was the most bizarre thing. But yeah, and there's the poster of Hooligans, which I don't think has been seen anywhere apart from on this. So there you go. That's a nice one.
Great, exclusive, brilliant.
It was.
You are clutching what look like ornaments here in this picture. So were these actual awards?
Oh, I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know. Yes, of course. Yeah. So, just a little stretch here. Yes. So Hooligans. There we go. There we go. You can see the TIE fighter storming over Ahto. So yes, Elizabeth won Best Actress for Hooligans. Myself and Jamie won Best Screenplay for Hooligans, and then James, who inadvertently, Jamie is one of the shortest people I've ever met. Never blocks anyone in a photo. Blocks James completely in this photo. So yeah, there he is. Bless him. Bless his. And James is like 8'12", but James won Best Actor for I Made the Time Machine. So
wow.
it was a nice little haul. So if you watch Hooligans and you don't like it, objectively you're wrong, because it's won awards. So there you go. Same with Time Machine. Time Machine has now won 21 awards around the world, and is going to be released on YouTube sometime next month. And then the Hooligans finale is coming out end of this month, and then the hour-long special is coming out towards the end of June as well. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, it was really, really, really good. Honestly, if you can go with it, that's where they shot all the Last Jedi stuff with Luke Skywalker on that island. It is an amazing place to go to, and the people are so friendly as well, so welcoming. We had countless photos with R2D2. I think James got presented with a birthday cake by Emperor Palpatine because it was his birthday. it's one of the most surreal experiences you'll ever have. But if you love sci-fi and sci-fi movies, like it's the place to go. And I hope the festival just grows and grows from here, because it's doing something incredible. So yeah, we had film. Bless them. There was loads of two filmmakers come from Alabama, and they didn't win, and I felt so bad afterwards. It was quite a few Americans over there, and they made the trip over, and it was very difficult for them, and they were missing flights and everything. So yeah, but they were very, very good. I think they made a Lego Star Wars movie, which was cool. There's a mix. It's Star Wars stuff, proper sci-fi, Doctor Who, fan films. It's just it appreciates all forms of sci-fi, which is, when you come to film festivals in the UK, you can see the type of films that they are because of the current economy as well. So they're quite drab, depressing, deal with social issues. So to go to a festival that celebrates not so much creativity, but otherworldliness and just the madness of sci-fi is so uplifting. So uplifting.
Escapism, I suppose. To be like actually proper, it was celebrating. Just let's go somewhere else that isn't the real world.
Yeah, we all need that at the moment, Charlotte.
Yeah, and especially as well when you're bumping into Kylo Ren and Emperor Palpatine and Vader and the Stormtroopers and Boba Fett, and they're all provided by the 501 Legion as well. So they're all like screen accurate, being signed off by Lucas. So yeah, it's an amazing trip. So yeah, no, thanks. It's good. It's really, really good.
Congratulations, Luke, and everybody who works on the Cinescope productions, hooligans, the films, and everything. You've always got our support here at Type 40, all of you. And I'm sure there'll be more awards coming your way at some point in the future. Like you say, celebrating creativity and escapism, both. That's never a bad thing, isn't it? And if you have a pint or two as well thrown into the bargain, and everyone's a winner. Sometimes it's easy, I think, to forget, Matt, that we found Doctor Who out of escapism. When it's browbeating us over one issue or another every single bloody week and trying to make us feel bad about ourselves, it is easy to forget that.
Yes, it is.
But I want to take you back to a happy place now, Matt. I mean, this is guaranteed to make you smile.
I know where my happy place is, but it's too dirty.
No, but it's all smiles here in this picture of the Doctor and Belinda, but always guaranteed to have everyone smiling each Christmas morning was unwrapping the official Doctor Who annual. Simon, you'll remember this, doubtless. Yes. Most of us will remember this, I think, whatever age we were, getting one of these hardback tomes. They're stretching back over the decades, a staple of every geek's Christmas. It's a third of the way through 2025 already, believe it or not. I'm struggling with that as it is, because to me it seems like it was only Christmas a couple of weeks ago, but we do have now the blurb for the latest in this long line of prestigious Doctor Who annuals, and here it is. So this is the 2026 edition. It's published on the 21st of August 2025, with a price tag there of $9.99. It's already available up to pre-order on Amazon, and they've been good enough to share the cover picture that's going to join that illustrious line as well. Your thoughts, everybody?
Do you want them? Do you really want them?
Is that how much they're going to pay us to take it? $9.99.
So this is artwork that we saw last week that the BBC revealed when they very proudly boasted about the fact that 2 million people were now subscribed to their Doctor Who YouTube channel. So unfortunately, it's key art that we're seeing turn up everywhere, Charlotte, in one form or another. I always find that a little bit disappointing, because it's not as creative as the annuals used to be, as books used to be. But do you think this could, on the shelves at Waterstones, do you think this could attract anybody's attention there who might have seen Doctor Who? Because some people still watch it.
I like that it's like a very space theme again. I always like it when they proper go like planets and stars and that, because it's Doctor Who. I think you need to have that, if I'm being honest. The only thing, so that's what I like about it. But the positioning of Belinda, she looks like she's been copy and pasted on badly in the background.
Well, that's the thing when it's composites.
Yeah, it's just like she looks like an afterthought. Like Shooty's clearly got his pose there. He's got his sort of doctor pose, like he's the centre point. And then she just looks like in the background somebody's gone, oh yeah, we need the companion, don't we? Oh, just stick her in there. That will do.
She does. You're right.
Yeah,
It's just
we talk about this.
unfortunate.
We talk about this every single year, Luke, when a new annual is revealed to the waiting fan base. They do seem to come around quicker every time. But did you grow up with the Doctor Who annual in the same way that Simon and myself did in the 70s and the 80s? Was this part of your Christmas?
Yeah. I used to have them all as a kid growing up. As a child in the mid 2000s, shall we say? No, I kind of leaned off. I think the last annual I bought was Tom Baker one from the 70s, believe it or not.
Good man.
Yeah, I think. Let me see if I can see. Yes, it's the one with where he's green on top of his head and it looks like a helicopter in the background. That's the last Doctor Who annual I bought, and I still got it somewhere. I think it's in South Wales. But yeah, I used to every the Battles in Time, the card games, got all of them. Doctor Who Adventurous, like pretty much growing up, I was very much in and a part of it, and absolutely loved it. But now I tried to get in a Radio Times cover when they come out the other week. I missed it completely. It's just kind of fallen off it. I think I walked past the other day and Forbidden Planet had the Shooty and Ruby comic book annual. I think they had that in the window, but they weren't actually selling it in store. They just had one in the shop for display purposes, which I found a little bit odd. But yeah, I'm probably going to give this one a miss, to be honest. I think the artwork is, when you see how creative they are as well compared to now, it does seem just seems a bit weak, to be honest. Not anything to do with the people that work on the show and do the graphics.
Yeah.
They're all doing a stellar job, but I think it's when you've had some amazingly creative pieces of work done and you see where we come from, now it just seems a little bit flat compared to what used to be.
No, I agree, and the amount of production, beautiful production art associated with the show, because for whatever we feel about the show editorially at the moment and some of the performances, I think few people would argue the fact that it probably looks more beautiful than ever. And so to not sort of jump on this opportunity to explore that, to showcase it there to the whole family yet again, Matt, I feel they're missing a trick. Did you buy the annuals, Matt, when you were a kid, or did they reach that far? Did they have your own editions?
Annuals, there? Yeah. Annuals sort of like they were in and out, so they weren't really. My brothers and sisters had annuals, but I never really ever got to see them anywhere. So. The first one I ever got for Doctor Who was the 1985 annual, and I was so excited because it was something Doctor Who, because we didn't have the merchandise that you guys had even back then. So to have that, I was very excited, and especially since I hadn't even seen Colin Baker's Doctor, I was very excited. But the only other one I actually bought was the 2006 annual, and that was because it was cheap. Other than that, because I mean they did stop for a while, didn't they? As well,
20 years.
Yeah. And
Gary,
not only that, but like they didn't have any McCoy ones either, did they?
No, not a single one. Gary, I've fallen off, just like Luke has. I've fallen out of the habit of picking these up as well. Even cheap. I used to wait and pick them up for like 99p or 1.99 or something. I don't even do that now. And I think maybe it's best left, well enough alone in my case. But do you collect them? Do you import them? Are you aware of their lineage?
The first one that I remember getting over here that was available over here, I think, was the 1981 with Tom in the Reboss operation. And the next few, if I was able to find like in, comic stores or whoever would import them. The first, the one that Matt was mentioning, the first Colin one was really readily available over here. That was like all over the place.
Wow.
And I've tried to find like, PDF copies of the other ones or, things. I love those first four, the artwork of the first four, the two Hartnell ones and the two Troughton ones. Those are just gorgeous covers, those first art covers.
It's funny you mentioned the Colin Baker one being so available overseas, because around that time, Simon, they really started to dry up in Britain, didn't they? You didn't see them in so many places. I had them for Christmas, but I know that my mother had to get them via mail order. She couldn't just go into the local bookstore and pick them up then. It was Doctor Who was starting to wane, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was by sort of those Colin Baker ones. They were often only available in places like Forbidden Planet, more specialist bookshops that in those days. Yeah, they started to wane. It's a shame that because I always loved the annuals, and Gary's right. The artwork on those first 4 in particular is just great. I'm still missing that John Pertwee one, the first John Pertwee one, the pink one, because it's just so damned expensive. There was so few of those published. So that's like gold dust. I still can't afford that one. Still can't afford the two Troughton artwork covers ones. I'm lucky enough to have the photographic Troughton one, but not the two artwork ones. It's funny and see them just laid out like that. It just gives me goosebumps because they all look so right together. I mourn that when they were absolutely the height of their popularity.
With the early ones, I like the fact that they use a different typeface.
Yeah,
they don't go the whole, DOCTOR.
They just didn't.
Doctor for short.
No, there was no such thing as sort of branding in those days whatsoever. Just use any old font you like.
And now we've gone to the other end where it's all branding, all corporate, all a little bit bland. And we're back to a situation where they're not printing so many of them. So who knows? Maybe this one will be worth a small fortune, like the pink Pertwee one in the future. It says in there in the blurb, the second official annual of a brand new era of Doctor Who. It's nearly over. The second official annual of a brand new era of Doctor Who is the must-have companion book to the latest adventures of the Doctor, from the latest terrifying monsters to the friends helping to save the day. This book is packed with facts, quizzes, and games. So jump on board the TARDIS and step into a whole new Whoniverse. That almost makes me want to get it, but it's just a few words.
Not quite.
Same old pictures you've seen everywhere else. I try not to rag on the people who put these together because professionals do this and they do it to a certain standard, and it's certainly no different to any others that are occupying the same space now. There's increasingly few annuals being published. The page count is dropping, and I know the people who work on them probably do their best, but I wouldn't buy this for my kids now, and I'm certainly not going to buy it for myself. But let us know what you think by all means in the live chat. Let's go and see what people have got to say. Quickly touch base there with our friends on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X.
Watch Type 40, or I will be paying you a little visit.
No, it's too
Not costume, is it? All these the updated versions, they look like just triangles walking around. But that ones I love. I love the lumpiness.
He's disproportionate.
And the veininess.
Richard Brooks agrees that Zygon is cool. He says we've got Chris Chatfield in the live chat too. Matthew Butterfield has joined us as well. Charlotte and Ian Scales is in as well. And he says great cosplay. We have no idea who that was tucked away inside that car. Well, we do, but for comic effect, I'm going to pretend that we don't, Simon.
We're not going to tell anybody.
We have.
I know that was Ian. Ian Diaz.
He could be in all of them for all I know. I wouldn't put it past him. Ian David Diaz is back in Britain and will be returning to Type 40 Live in the not too distant future, I'm assured. Time it's out, Shooty will by the time it's out, Shooty will be history, suggests Stephen Braddock. And Chris Chatfield. I don't know what that is he's talking about there, Chris, but enjoy. Not for me, thanks, says Richard Brooks. And we've got Woodhouse122 in the live chat as well. Domgo is not going to add that to his Christmas wish list.
Oh, Domgo, I love your picture.
Oh, that's great.
I was always a sweet person.
That should have been the Children in Need sketch we got, not that book with legs.
That's right.
And I think
Well,
Ian
he doesn't
Scales
have legs, does he?
I think Ian Scales having a bit of a gloat here. I think he's suggesting that he owns the pink Pertwee, the famous pink Pertwee.
Go off, Ian. I hate you. I hate you.
The bugger. Frankie with his AI jukebox says, I remember getting some Doctor Who stuff from Merlin Books. What's Merlin Books?
I'm guessing. I don't know. Was that a mail order one, or was
that a
maybe-
Is it a
retailer?
bookstore?
No, I'm guessing it was maybe a specialist bookstore close to them. I don't know. Maybe.
And Heretic has considered getting the annuals, collecting the annuals, but I have thought it could get pricey. Well, there's only 4 or 5, Simon, that would really dent your wallet. The rest are
the Troutons, the pink pertwee, and the Hartnells. Those are the most expensive, undoubtedly.
I read that. I read that so wrong. My eyes are a little bit blurry, and I thought I'll get the annuals, but that'll make me a bit spicy. I was like, what are these annuals doing to you guys? Jeez.
He's talking about
so wrong.
He's talking about Mayfair and Razzle. They still do annuals. Was there not a 2014 annual, asks Matthew Butterfield? There was, but it was just that it was labelled as the official 50th anniversary annual. They took the year off that one. That's the one with Matt Smith looking very pensively at us next to Peter Capaldi's first one there. So next to the
yes.
one.
Richard Brooks says that he has the pink Pertwee annual. It only cost him £140.
Yeah, that's about right. That's about what they go for.
Too rich for me. Domgo also has all the Pertwee annuals. God blimey. But let's get it all out of the way, or you gloaters. Pure Historical says, how cool is the 2012 cover? How cool. Yeah, that is, I think that's one of my favorite. I think that is one of my favorites, Dwayne. I really do. Actually, yeah. I quite like the bow tie one.
I
do too, actually. I was looking at that.
Love 2013. That bow tie is so cool.
Everything went holograms.
In 2012, they were doing a lot of Matt's promo like that. It was all very dark and moody.
Yeah.
The pink one also Peter Harrington.
I'm just looking on eBay now, and one of them's going for £368.81.
Wow.
Which one? The pink one? The pink one?
Yeah.
What's the condition?
Mint, I would hope.
Yeah, it seems okay, but jeez.
Wow. Yeah.
Steep. Fucking vertical, about steep. I have the New Who annuals up to 2018. Never bothered with the Jodie one, says Woodhouse 122. But Richard does have all the annuals from the classic run. I bought them over last year. I'm loving them.
Good for you, Richard.
They are very beautiful things. We've got Garbage in the live chat too. Good to see you, mate. Who else is here? Chris Graham's in as well. 70s, 80s, 90s annuals good. The rest awful. Well, the 90s, there was none made in the 90s, but I'm sure you're right.
The 60s were good.
They're all nuts, says Frankie. New name, Frankie. You just found the channel. Yeah, we are probably all officially.
Who exactly are you talking about, Frankie? Clarify.
It's no news to us. Cut and paste rubbish with the same old pictures, says Stephen Braddock. Yeah, I understand because I work in that sector as well, so I understand why they do it. I just think that Doctor Who has been sort of blighted by this because it's such a creative kind of arena and community that the thing serves. I think it has to look better than the average kind of brony annual.
I think they could have done
annual.
I think they could have done a painted cover, a few painted covers in the last few years, but they've done zero.
Yeah.
Or what they could do is, I don't know if because of official channels they can get away with it, but have fans like submit designs and pick one that's, if you can't exactly go with it 100% because of, like I said, the brand issue, say at least that's like the basis for the design for the annual that year. Based on something a fan sends in. I think that would be, to have fans involved in that way, that'd be really cool. Or
do you remember, Charlotte?
Like design the whole thing at the front.
Well, do you remember about 3 years ago?
Get a free coffee, that's about it though.
Actually, it could be longer, Matt. I think around 4 years ago when we first started doing this show sort of dedicated every week, we did do that. We got the annual up on screen, whichever one it was that year. And people were so dissatisfied with it. I'll tell you which one it was. It was the first one they ever did without the actual Doctor on the front cover. I wonder why they did that. Yeah. It was the 2022 one, so it's 4 years ago, with the TARDIS and the circular pattern around it, Matt. And we asked everybody in the live chat, didn't we? And the comments, we asked people to submit alternative designs. And we had some really good ones come through, didn't we? And I can't quite remember who won. I think it could have been Vanessa Law.
Yeah, I remember that one too. And it was the fact that people were more like going, well, that's actually the first one. If you look at it, that's actually the first one without a doctor on the cover. ever.
Yeah, what does that tell you?
Yeah.
we did take that as confirmation of a lot of what we were feeling at the time, as I remember. Yeah, let's have some more comments, everybody, by all means, about what you feel about where Doctor Who is in the here and now, how you're enjoying or not the current episodes, as well as everything else that we're going to talk about for the rest of the show. Simon, I know you didn't watch it at the weekend. We got a better look at the monsters that you were wondering about. So this was the Screeth. This was the Screeth, how they actually looked on screen. So, yeah, what do you think? Would that have terrified you as a 10-year-old?
Yeah, probably would as a 10-year-old, but I still think it looked way cooler in that photo that we saw last week, where all you could see was the red eyes and just a black silhouette. That was really creepy, and this just looks like, well, you know, a rubber monster. It's just
a guy in a suit.
Yeah, it just looks really underwhelming, and it's just like everything we see. All the monsters these days in Doctor Who generally look the same. They always look like this, a sort of a variation of, or they seem to. So they all look like they've come out of the same design studio, which I just find a bit disappointing. But there we go.
Simon, you may feel better in the knowledge that he wasn't the real monster. Can you guess who the real monster was?
Oh, I can't imagine. Who was the real monster?
It's a straight white bloke, of course.
A straight white guy. Of course he was.
Yeah.
Of course he was.
who got a thorough dressing down from the Doctor there in the scenes towards the end in the TARDIS, which I accept that some people may have enjoyed these, but quite frankly, I'd rather have a colonoscopy than sit through this again. But there we are. We've got Philip Roy in the live chat as well. Good to see you, Phil.
Hello, Phil.
Genuine Doctor.
Love the new trailer.
Has he put out a new trailer?
The other one.
I saw it somewhere.
Last week or 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yes, the one that we played on here. Yeah, Philip Roy, Doctor Who meets the Scorpion. Of course, we'll continue to plug that and play the trailers whenever we can. We have, it looks a bit like the Alien 3 monster, says Cheryl in the live chat. I do really like this. I like a lot of the creature.
You know what it looks like? It reminded me of the beasts in I can't remember the name of them, but they're those dogs in Ghostbusters. That's what it looks like.
Oh, Zool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
A little bit.
See, no, you're right. You're right. And compared to those, this looks a bit shit. But But I quite like this on screen. The clips of it sort of stalking them over the fences, Luke, and the rooftops. I thought that was a really effective old school Doctor Who chills. But that was all the stuff that you didn't like. Was that you weren't too? I loved the first half. It was the second half that let me down. But you felt completely differently, didn't you?
I hated the first half. I think as a collective, I think, because we all watched it in Ireland through Dugas means on the smallest laptop ever, because the TV was knackered. But Airbnb, pay all that money, you think they'd ever work in TV? But we all watched it on the smallest laptop, and we were like, what is this drivel? And then obviously when the twist happened, Think Tank, and then the music from Robot kicks in as well, a little motif. So I was like, all of us were like, yo, we're in. I thought Conrad was great, very well casted as well. And I was like, I thought he'd be a very cool Doctor. If he were cast as Conrad, I thought he played the charming part really well, and then switched up to the sinister. I thought, oh, this guy's got a bit of an edge about him. I was like, obviously he played what's his the prince in The Little Mermaid, didn't he recently? Yeah. So obviously Doctor Who couldn't afford him, but for 3 episodes, sure they can. But I thought it was great. Yeah, as soon as that twist happened, I thought it was great. It's nice to see Kate Lethbridge-Stewart actually do something for a change. Towards the end, I thought the Doctor dressing down, I think we haven't had enough of that, of Ncuti being that serious. So it felt, this is a little bit out of place. Where if you had like a Capaldi Doctor or a Tennant would chain him up in the heart of a star, or Capaldi would dress him down entirely, it just felt a little, not unearned, but I was like, it didn't really fit the character. And I was just like, oh.
Well, it was like, have you ever heard, Luke, of small dog syndrome? If you know any dog owners.
Yeah, that's Lenny.
Yeah, little man syndrome we call it. Yeah, don't forget I work with Jamie. He's like 2'4", so he's 5'5".
See, that's what it reminded me of. And unfortunately, you know, and I thought Shooty was great in The Well, but in this, and I thought he was fine enough in the earlier scenes in this. But this is where, in my view, it was revealed in no uncertain terms. I wouldn't say that he's a poor actor, but somebody like Jonah Hoa, who I still can't pronounce Jonah King's name, so I'm just going to call him Jonah King. So he comes in with masses of charisma and just acts him off the screen in that. So it was unfortunate in many respects, but and it does sadly confirm the creeping feeling I've had that Shooty Gat has been miscast in this role. If somebody can just come in and supposedly be the villain and just be better in every conceivable way. Dwayne is in the live chat and asks, well, he says here, are you spouting lies and disinformation again, Dan? He says, I'm sitting here warm and safe, and I just had some toast, so carry on. My pleasure, mate, my pleasure.
I tell you what has been interesting, though, which I've noticed in this week, like after the episode, that even the main sort of stream news now, you had the Metro do it.
Yeah, they've all turned.
I've now seen the Standard article. Basically, you see, Lucky Day seems to almost be the breaking point now for those people to go.
I'm afraid so.
Doctor Who's a bit of lectury now, isn't it? Oh, they like to say their moral sort of high ground, and I'm like, wow, this wasn't being said before. Now even the press are pointing it out, which I think is very.
They smell the blood in the water.
Yep.
I've got a bit of a conspiracy that the BBC have kind of just said, just say what you want now. We don't care.
Don't protect it anymore.
Yes, it's easy to forget that this stuff was written over 2.5 years ago. The worm is turning, says Peter Harrington. Absolutely. We're full of worms here. Oh, that's terrible. On Type 40 Live on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X, happily worming along in our own little way here. Yes, so join us for more, of course. You can get us across the podcatchers there, whatever is the podcatcher of your choice. Get the Type 40 podcast as well. You know, you haven't had enough of listening to us ramble on these live streams. You want to get us in your ears as well when you're on the school run or commuting, doing the washing up or whatever. All the latest episodes there if you work your way back through the timeline. And don't forget to make sure you're subbed here and hit the cluster bell to get all the notifications for all the live streams, past and present and future, such as our new Who reaction to the next episode that's coming from 8 p.m. this Saturday as well. So make sure you hit the cluster bell and you won't miss out on any of that. Yeah, get your gams around that little lot. There's a lot more to talk about as the show continues. More comments, everybody. Thank you for everything so far. Where are we going to go next? Not too far away, but later on we're going right the way back. So there's a lot to cover. We better get stuck into it, haven't we?
Perfect. Just the person I need to see. Firstly, loving the outfit, by the way. Really suits your hair. Secondly, the universe is falling apart. I don't have much time to yet. I need to shoot off. I need to do something. But by all means, this is imperative. Watch Type 40. Type 40 podcast is where you need to be. Seguida!
Yeah, sorry, Snowflake. But as long as you keep making them, we're going to keep on reviewing them. Not before we've previewed them, though. Doctor Who continues into the second half of the season. In the next couple of days, this is. So, yeah, there's another 4 yet to come. This one is called The Story and the Engine. That is an intriguing title, I have to say, from Inua Ellams, this one, the writer Inua Ellams. It's the same drill as ever, of course. So we get the early Saturday morning drop on the iPlayer. That's 8 a.m. UK time, simultaneously with Disney Plus globally. So wherever you are, you get it at whatever time that is you're used to by now. And then later on in that traditional Saturday tea time-ish slot on BBC One, that is where the bulk of the viewers still get their Doctor Who on that Saturday evening. I'm not sure if they've realised that this was all a bad idea or not by now. You know, they tried it last year. They've adjusted it this year. if you look at the stats, if you look at the figures for the people who watch this in advance on iPlayer, I can't see how it can be remotely worth it with the profile of the show seemingly, sadly, dropping every week. We're going to take a look at the trailer for this brand new one that's coming in a couple of days. It's storing the engine right now, and see if this whets your appetite, whether you're in or you're out.
Lagos, Nigeria.
I've been expecting you.
Wait, you're all missing.
It is always hungry. We must feed it.
Who are you? This is my domain.
Doctor!
What the hell is this?
That's what I say all the time. What the hell is this?
The trailers seem to be getting shorter and shorter, don't they? The story and the engine there from Anua Elums. That's Saturday, this coming Saturday. Again, 7:10 on BBC One. So they're managing to keep it in the same slot for 2 weeks running, Luke. That's a rare thing. I mean, do you think it makes any difference when they move it around by 5 or 10 minutes here and there? I personally think it does, because people get used to it and they miss the first 5 minutes. Yeah, they can just wind it back, but I still think it sort of gets in the way a little bit when they move it around. Or is that really old-fashioned, Luke?
No, I agree. I think if you're gonna give them a slot, give them a slot. And to go back to viewing habits as well, which is very interesting. Someone, one of my friends, Mr. Carley, just texted me something very, very, very interesting that in the Hooligans group chat, that someone posted on Twitter that their friend heard that The Well was good, and The Well was a good episode of Doctor Who, so they decided to watch it. They actually watched it over 3 parts on TikTok. They didn't watch it on iPlayer. So there you go. That's,
really?
Yes. Yeah, I'll send you it. I'll send you it so you can have a look. But yeah, someone watched the
I
entirety of The Well on TikTok. No, you can put like an hour on TikTok now if you want. I think it's under 45 minutes or an hour between that. But yeah, have a look. But yeah, this is a new writer coming on board. So always excited for new voices coming to Doctor Who. That's what I think it needs. It needs fresh new voices. I think they said that this one's going to be the polar opposite to Dot and Bubble. I really enjoyed Dot and Bubble, actually. I think I've been in the minority. I thought it was really good. New voices. I'm excited. You know, look what, I can't forget her name. Sharma
Angel Warful. Hyphenated names.
I thought she did really well with The Well. I thought Peter McTeague, obviously, I mean, I seem to be in the minority. I like Peter McTeague. I know he did Praxeus and Kablam before, which, again, was quite political. I thought he did a good job last week. And I think, new voices, I think is what we need now. Look what happened when you got, I forget the name, the guy that did Flatline and Mummy and the Orient Express. I was like, I think Doctor Who needs new voices now. Yes, I don't think you can rely on Russell and Stephen and Chibnall to come in and write everything now. I think hopefully is good. I've heard things, because obviously I'm friends with a lot of people on the crew. I've heard things, so I have my reservations, but I'm looking forward to it nonetheless. So.
Well, Anua Elums is a 40-year-old playwright and performer born in Nigeria. He went to school in Dublin. He's a citizen of Nigeria as well, but they insist that he's British. How can somebody be British if they're both a citizen of Nigeria and they were born in Nigeria? Heaven knows. But according to the BBC, he's British. Quite a track record, technically. Work at the National Theatre, awards from the National Theatre. And he is an MBE as well. He was given an MBE for his services to the arts. Past work includes Three Sisters, Barbershop Chronicles, An Evening with an Immigrant. Okay, 13 Fairy Negro type. I'm sensing a theme here. Okay, but yeah, to be fair, he has also written for the Royal Shakespeare Company and the National Theatre. And in 2018, he was elected as a Fellow of the Royal Society of Literature. So this guy seems to have a lot of the weight of the establishment behind him. So let's wait and see. Let's wait and see, shall we? So the episode itself, the story and the engine, this is intriguing. Every trailer that they've put out for this season has, some of it sort of washed me over, some of the clips. You know when you get a clips package, some things stand out more than others. But every single clip that excited me the most in each of the trailers so far, I've been able to sort of track them back because of other people sort of on X and things like that who put all these things together. And all the bits that excite me the most, all the visuals that look the coolest to me, all come from this episode. So that may be skewing my expectations to sort of unreasonable proportions. I'm really looking forward to this. It looks quite unique. As you said, Luke, I think that having new writers that haven't worked on the show before has worked so far this season. Maybe this will be okay. The plot, we've got a synopsis as well here. So it says, in Lagos, the mysterious barber reigns supreme. The Doctor discovers a world where stories have power, but can he stop the spider and its deadly web of revenge? So that's quite B-movie-ish, I think, Matt. It's all about missing people, I think tracking them back to this sort of barbershop. And it looks kind of paranormal and a bit primal. It seems to be about folklore in some way, albeit particular to one place on the Earth. I mean, I think that Doctor Who should travel the globe and go to different places, either literally and film overseas, or through the magic of TV, sort of transport us there. I'm all for that. But obviously, this does look so different, so distinctive. You do wonder, don't you, if it'll still have that Doctor Who flavour to it, or will it feel like we're watching another show?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Look, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I'm sick of spiders being in Doctor Who being the villains all the time. Why can't they have like a deadly giraffe or something if they're going to Africa?
I love giraffes.
That's what I'm saying. No, it's unexpected.
That'd be so cool. I mean,
have a killer giraffe on the loose or something. But
Killer
no.
giraffe.
I love it.
Can you imagine, Matt, what the ratings for an episode titled "Killer Giraffe" would be? That would be sky high.
That I would watch.
You do realise if there is a killer
Africa,
giraffe
you're going to have
in
a
the next
deadly
season
spider.
of Doctor
Come to
Who.
Australia for deadly spiders. Jeez.
Simon?
No, I was just going to say, if there is a killer giraffe in the next season of Doctor Who, you know that Russell T Davies is watching this show, because nobody else is going to come up with a suggestion of a killer giraffe.
He won't give me credit, though.
Next series?
Well, I didn't say when it's going to be, Luke. 10 years
It'll be an
time.
underwater giraffe in the next War on the Land, whatever it's called.
Hearing Matt's pitch there for that story does remind me of that Only Fools and Horses episode where they try and make that low-budget, schlocky monster movie. There's a rhino loose in the city.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Oh,
I'm thinking back to anybody that has seen Night of the Lepus, where there are gigantic bunny rabbits, killer bunny rabbits from the 70s. I kid you not. If you haven't seen Night of the Lepus,
I remember that Goodies episode. Remember that one?
I don't know
the
what
rabbit
that
on
is.
the moon.
It sounds brilliant, Simon. Of course, Tom from T Dwarf Productions, he's all over this.
I know he is.
Spiders and other creepy crawlies. Another spider story for Doctor Who. No credibility, says Kess the drone. The writer is suggesting he's got no credibility, but he's been helped up the ladder. Where
They've all been helped up the ladder.
Now, I was just going to say, Dan, the slight problem, not that I'm watching this, so it really doesn't worry me, but the slight problem I have with this particular episode is we already know what happens to the spider because it was in the original trailer. Yeah. So we know how it ends.
Oh. Yeah, I thought that because, I was like with Dan beforehand when we were just seeing glimpses of the spider. It looked in such a good design because it's not just I like how you can clearly see the African sort of.
It looks like a Tim Burton one, doesn't it, Charlotte?
Sorry, say that again.
It looks like a Tim Burton-esque.
Well, yeah, and I was going to say, and then now I'm getting Tim Burton, like Coraline, a little bit like that sort of vibe.
Yeah, I can see that.
So that's all brilliant, and if this, it looks like to me that this is going to be quite a small set. Again, we're not going to get like a sprawling sort of story. It's going to be confined to this barbershop. So it has all the good ingredients on so far, off just glances. Of this could be a scary one, this could be a creepy one, But Simon said we've seen the spider get blown up.
Unless, of course, Charlotte. Unless Charlotte, that was a red herring, and actually that's not the end of the story, and they're wrong-footing all of us. And let's hope that is the case, because otherwise it's a bit obvious. What's the point in watching the episode?
If it's set in a barber shop, why isn't it like Killer Nets or something?
Yeah.
Somebody in the chat, Matt, wants giraffes on a spaceship.
It's like, oh, there's an alien bug in your hair.
Oh, Bunch of Wallies has just made a good point. How are they going to crowhorn Mrs. Flood into this?
Yeah, I saw that comment as well. I was like, oh no.
She'll be the stylist that comes in after the haircut.
Oh yes, she'll probably be there to like.
Yeah, she'll fit in right away.
Oh yeah, Tom, he's crazy for this spider.
Wow.
The spider is called a Nancy. He confides there.
And
I don't think the spider's going to be the main.
A Nancy? Is that not? I find that quite offensive. Sorry, I'm offended.
Poor spider, says Tom. Yeah. So I don't think the spider is the actual villain, though. It would seem that this guy is the villain. This is the barber, the mysterious barber. So we're going to have to find out more about him at the weekend. That guy does look terrified, doesn't he? What he's going to do to him? Yeah.
Holding in his hand.
Pair of clippers and a brush.
It looks suspect.
Looks suspect indeed. Now, the good news is that that this guy, Elms, is a huge Doctor Who fan. So I've got a quote here from him. He says, I've been watching the show since I was 10 years old in Nigeria. I'm a huge fan. There was a long hiatus when there was nothing happening. Then when the show returned, I watched most of them. And they asked him, what is the process of writing an episode of Doctor Who, and how is it different to what you've done before? And he elaborated that the turnover time is far faster. A play takes me 5 or 6 years to write, but we had to do this in a relatively short time, about a year. So he's worked on this for a year. Bear in mind, they filmed it a year and a half ago. He worked on it for a year. So this is another one 2.5 years ago. But he says it's very different. He says it's very different from writing regular drama, where he says that with regular drama, much of the information and storytelling comes through dialogue. But with Doctor Who, you have to think pictorially. And that it took him a long time to get his writing down to that, and that Russell T Davies really helps. I really liked working with Russell T Davies. So I'm lifted in this by the fact that it does sound like this guy. Or he grew up in Nigeria, but there he was, just the same as we were, Simon, watching and loving Doctor Who, Gary. The same experience all over the world. The fact that he watched the classic show, so seems like religiously from how he's raving on about it. He's elaborated a lot further in this month's Doctor Who magazine as well, like really gushing about the show. So, given the fact that he seems to get it, I do wonder, have they got in his head and messed with that kind of vision that he had and that familiarity he had for the show, and sort of perverted it in some way, and maybe convinced him that it's best used as some sort of vehicle for yet another message. So that's what worries me, the fact that somebody who does seem to understand the show, who does have an affection for it, could be taken down the wrong path, and we get another share of shit for 45 minutes.
I mean, you're right. I mean, it's only, I think, a long time from now we'll see if his original vision was messed around with or not. I mean, based on that quote, I mean, he is approaching this, as a serious writing job, not just a lark. I mean, he seems to have serious intentions about it.
Good intentions, despite the silly hat. It would appear that that this guy has talent, and say has appetite and affection for the show, and that's what you want. And I think we should get international rights as well, Luke. I think that's a good thing. I mean, J. Michael Straczynski this week is making very clear overtures that he wants to work on Doctor Who, and obviously he's American, and I think it's all fine if people have got good stories, bring them to Doctor Who. But it's the imagery that he was saying, how you have to think pictorially, and this is something that I talk about quite a lot, because that's very much how I view the show. And when I see images like this of what looks to be like the barbershop with the Doctor falling out the door and some swirling vortex, or is it like a web? Is that the spider's web? All this sort of stuff looks like my kind of Doctor Who, exactly the kind of thing that I like from the show.
Yeah, no, absolutely agree. I think, as I said, the more voices, the better. And I know it's a British show created by a Canadian. I think it needs that. The Doctor can travel in time and space. Of course, you'd have multiple different voices talking on the show, and I think it's very much needed. I think, I think it'd be good. I hope it'll be good. I hope it'll be good. He's got it right. He's got some chops behind him anyway. He's got some writing chops. He clearly knows what he's doing. He's an MB already, so I'm very excited to see what he does with it. Very, very excited to see what he does with it. It could be the best thing ever or the worst thing ever. But he's a fan. He grew up being a fan. It's what fans would love to do. So for him to be a fan, grow up as a fan, and then being given a chance to write for Doctor Who, is an achievement in himself. So congratulations to him, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what he puts on the screen.
Yeah, and also I think it's important that we've got a writer that's got that lived experience of African culture, of African sort of folk stories, because he talks about that a lot in the Doctor Who magazine, and how like he was influenced by his family because they were big on the oral storytelling tradition. And I agree. I also think, as much as I think it's important to always show English history and British history because of where the shows come from, when we can, I'm all for going to different parts of the world.
Me too.
Because you have a TARDIS, for God's sake. Like, the Doctor can go to any country at any time. And across the world, if you look at their stories, they are brilliant and crazy and out there. Especially if you look at African... I'm not an expert, but I know bits and bobs of like African stories, and you could fit that into Doctor Who because they tend to have these fantastical elements to them naturally.
Their culture and values very much align with British values. So, last week we talked about City of Death at some length, didn't we, Simon? In the diary, your fabulous revelations there about how it was filmed and where it was filmed. And I think back to that, and when the series went to Amsterdam, when I was like a 9-10-year-old kid, I loved that. And I think now I do think, what a shame. Not only that they didn't get more time in France, but there weren't more French people in it. There wasn't more time to take in some of that culture, particularly in Arc of Infinity, because, I think it just looks like such a beautiful place. And I'm not suggesting they should have spent time in the red light district or anything like that, but it would have been nice to, you know what I mean? To hear and
What's
feel
in that
more
window,
Doctor? Thankfully, there's something PG rated, but very pretty to look at here in the form of Reda Satu, again as Belinda in this. But it looks really atmospheric, and I don't think any of it was actually filmed in Nigeria, and that's absolutely fine as long as it has that kind of flavour. It does seem as well that there are other Doctor Who fans involved with this. So this is Aryan Bakir, who plays the barber. And there's a quote here from him, and they said, "How did you feel when you told you got the part of the barber?" He said, "I was thrilled. I couldn't wait to dive into this character. I was a big fan of Doctor Who as a kid. I would collect Doctor Who cards that you'd get in the cereal boxes. So I said, I loved the Daleks. And of course, I was a huge fan of the Cybermen." So I love reading quotes like this. I know it doesn't necessarily mean anything. It doesn't necessarily point to quality, but I do like it when you hear about actors who grew up watching this show, Simon, as we did. I don't know which cereal boxes that would have been, whether it would be something with PG tips or something. I don't know, but that's our experience as well, isn't it? And the more fans that work on this show, the purer their connection with the material is going to be. And he'll recognise kind of the etiquette. It's like being a Bond villain, isn't it? Being a Doctor Who villain. There's a certain kind of way to play it, I suppose.
I guess so. I don't know. It's a very particular thing, isn't it? And part of my heart just sinks when I keep hearing that everybody's a Doctor Who fan, because I just want people to not be Doctor Who fans. I just want people to be the right people, to be good actors, to be good writers. And I'm not saying they're not at all. But and in a way, it's kind of unavoidable. So this isn't really criticism. I get it. Doctor Who is popular, and so a heck of a lot of people out there are Doctor Who fans. So it isn't really a criticism. But sometimes it'd be so refreshing to hear somebody say, No, never watched Doctor Who, never seen it, but they're just a good writer, they're a good actor, they're a good director, and so they bring their A game to it, but they haven't got a clue what they're doing and why. I think my best example of that actually would be Timothy Dalton, who I think he went on record as saying he'd never seen Doctor Who in his life. And yet I still think that one of the best performances in Doctor Who in all those 60-odd years was Timothy Dalton as Rassilon. It was just breathtaking. But he was not a fan. He had nothing to do with the show. He didn't even know what it was. So I just think it'd be refreshing sometimes just to be told, nope, I haven't got a clue, but I just did the best I could. And leave it at that. Mm-hmm.
I'm curious as to whether
reading of it, Gary, this is an excuse for more box ticking. And let's face it, they have been guilty of box ticking in the past. So you can see what
you'd notice that.
You can see what people would feel this way. I can't be angry with Matthew or say that he's wrong to feel that way when they have absolutely done that in the past. Chris Chibnall especially.
Well, I mean, I think honestly, if we were all to be honest, I think there is still, at least a small part of each of us that still goes in hoping that it's going to be a good episode. I think that we go through that cycle every week, and then so far this season we haven't been lucky. I'm curious. I'm curious if we'll be getting a character options figure of the barber. I can put that next to my Ice Warrior.
He's going to turn out to be.
It's like, can we get a great monster, please?
But the spider, like I said, the design of it when it's on show, I think and I'll say this is happily, so far, this monster is the most impressive design I've seen this series, just off the pictures. Obviously, I don't know what
it does look good.
Story, I can't talk about it that way, but just as a visual, and like I said, I love that you can tell it's from another country. I think that's such a brilliant thing that they went with the aesthetic.
It's distinctive, distinctive.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It makes it look distinctive. It makes it look something else. And
Lee Smith says that those are the Weetabix Doctor Who cards there that the barber actor probably collected.
It still won't be better than the Queen Spider from Planet of the Spiders, Charlotte. I mean, come on.
What could be
that? Is that what you're saying? It has to happen?
With the voice. Blaine says, I love it when Doctor Who goes somewhere other than the UK from time to time. Only question is, again, is it a good story? Of course, it always comes down to that, and rightly so.
And what's the motive?
Have you seen someone's actually went through the trailer for that episode, and when they fall out of the barbershop, is actually the poster of David Tennant's Doctor and Donna that flies out as well. Someone found it in the trailer and screenshotted it and was like, "There's that poster from the 60th anniversary." Look out for that, because that is in it. Yeah, and I think the art department come out and was like, "Oh yeah, we put that in for a reason." So like, okay.
I agree with Charlotte, though. The decision to put that scene in the trailer was just inexplicable. It's like, why would you do that if that's what happens at the end of the episode?
That's what I say, Gary. I can only assume it isn't what happens at the end of the episode.
Because the rest of the episode is boring. And that's probably why, because they've gone, this is the exciting thing we have in this.
I suspect what will happen is that particular spider will be blown up, as we've seen in the trailer, but then there will be an even bigger spider, the great one, sitting behind.
With the giraffe's head.
With Mrs. Flood's face. That's how they'll get it in there.
Well, Nancy is if I'm right, I might be wrong. And Nancy's sorry, I'm just flashing not flashing on the camera. Jesus Christ. Yeah, sorry.
Believe it or not, we've already had that on the show.
Sure, yeah. But isn't Anansi a god of some kind in African culture?
A trickster god.
Yes. A trickster, yeah. So are they gonna change it and be a god of the pantheon?
Haven't they already done the frog thing? Ian, sorry.
But is this going to be a link to the pantheon? Are they going to try and tie it in? Because I know on Unleashed, Russell said him and Sharma were trying to do something about gods of Nigeria, but they couldn't make it fit because he was pushing for it, so they decided to go with the midnight creature instead. So if this episode's come in a little bit closer, maybe they're trying to turn it towards a pantheon. I hope not. I hope it's completely separate and not. But
we do have. We do have a preview here, courtesy of Russell T. Davies, which is very low on hyperbole. You'll be pleased to learn. And yes, he gives a bit of a quote there from the story. But he says that a while back, I went to the National Theatre to see Barbershop Chronicles by Inua Ellams. I left thinking that man should write Doctor Who. I then discovered he'd been working on stories with my predecessor, Chris Chibnall. And if that's not enough, that should be all you need to know, mate. Forget it. If that's not enough, Shooty then came to me with a suggestion. Have you ever thought of using a writer called Inua Ellams? So he said it's meant to be, and I'm so proud to have helped this to the screen as Inua unveils a new world of riches, replete with gods, monsters, revenge, passion, and a very big spider. Indeed, Tom, you're in? Tom, very big spider? Promised there, mate. So obviously, we're going to be waiting on Tom's verdict as our spider expert there from T-Dwarf Productions. In the meantime, yeah, we've got to wait and see the episode there and see if this is as good as it could be and something distinctive that we want it to be to propel the show forward as if it's got a future. Okay, so this is The Story in the Engine, Saturday the 10th of May 2025 there at 7:10 on BBC One, and as ever we'll be here to take you through it as painlessly as possible after the fact, to pick up the pieces and point to anything that may make sense. I don't know, it could be a tall order, but we'll get through it together, everybody. I'm certain. Coming this Saturday, will he get her home anytime soon? Probably not for a couple of weeks. Not for a couple of weeks. This is on BBC One, and you can stream it globally on on the Disney Plus app and iPlayer in Britain from 8 a.m. as well there. The Story and the Engine. That's episode 5 of this season of Doctor Who. I think they've earned a break. Definitely earned a break. Golden faces and golden voices from Doctor Who's long and distinguished past are going to take us away now, right back through TV history, where they'll be flogging us all manner of everyday household tat from back in the pre-Amazon days, no less. So here are the ads. We'll see you back here in a couple of minutes, and enjoy.
UK Gold. Prime time, all the time.
Hello?
It's me.
What? Is it time?
Don't panic. I'm just testing.
How do you feel?
I think I'm developing a blowhole.
You look wonderful. Womanly.
I can't tell what colour my pants are without taking them off.
Sensual. Curvaceous.
My bra was designed for Russian shot putters.
Kath.
To keep their shots in.
All right, given you look a tiny bit bulbous.
What?
Let's stop after we've had 5.
We're only having 1. I'm never sleeping with you again after what you've just said.
Don't call me for half an hour unless it's an emergency.
This is an emergency. I'm fat.
You're not fat. You're just keeping our baby warm.
You always say the right thing. So I ended up like this in the first place.
Cellnet let people who can't be together talk. We're the big network.
Have you got a little...
Hello, love. See, you and Dave got married then? Got just what you need for supper. Tender beef simmered in its own gravy with a tasty pie crust.
Oh, but I've never made a pie.
No, and you never have to. Fray Bentos steak and kidney pie, just like his mother's. She buys them here too.
With his familiar pint of scald, Trevor looks like a normal scholar, but he is in fact a hyper-intelligent mega-being from a distant galaxy, which means he can score 180 at darts. With his eyes closed. Beat the Space Invaders at their own game.
Oh no, it's Trevor.
He can even transmit telepathic commands.
2 pints of scald. Right one.
Naturally, Skull can't turn you into a hyper-intelligent mega-being with superpowers. But when you know lager, You're a scholar.
Welcome back to your Type 40 Live, covering the future, the present, and the past of all things Doctor Who, where we're adopting our stance and squaring up for the weekend as ever with Type 40 Live's big hoo-ha. Are they back? Are they ready? Are they squared up? And are they in their fighting positions, fighting stances? It seems so. The panel are back, I think, all better now. So let's see who's here, shall we? You know, I found out recently that Carl Douglas, for all those years, Simon, he was lying to us, you know. Turns out that in the early 70s, everybody was not kung fu fighting.
I think everybody was, in all honesty, Dan.
Even Steptoe's son was kung fu fighting.
His feet were fast as lightning.
I was devastated to learn this. Yeah, anyway, so welcome back to Type 40 Live. We've got Simon Horton here celebrating VE Day. Of course, this week, VE Day. We've got Gary Akers there, the minty fresh Gary Akers, the award-winning Luke Walters and friends from Cinescope Pictures here. We've got Matt Pott, all cozy and warm there, starting his day with us at Type 40 Live.
Unawarding.
Every moment that we spend in your company, my good man. And we've got Charlotte Shields as well there in the bottom corner. You've been quite kind with your criticisms this week, haven't you? You've been very sparing in the blows that you've dealt the current production. You're saving it all up for the
I was
next
going to
review.
say, after Saturday's show, where like afterwards people were like, "Oh, Charlotte, you were back to your rare form." I was like, "Yes, I was."
Yeah, we do like to. We don't like to stay in a bad place for too long. Too many black pills here on the show. We like to offer the white pills as well. This is genuinely a Doctor Who magazine show here. And if you think that the ad break was a satisfying sort of feast of nostalgia, the truth is, Simon, that it was merely the starter, wasn't it? The main course is coming up right now. That means another beautifully garnished Doctor Who diary. Oh, look at their little faces. Their little faces. They can't wait, can they?
Yeah, here we are back again with another diary. Welcome, one and all. And lovely to have you here, Luke, tonight, because I think this is the first time you've actually been on a show with the diary, isn't it? So it's lovely.
It is. Yeah, I can't wait. It's my favourite segment. I told Dan as well. I watch every Thursday. Yeah.
You're too kind. So here we go on a trip back through 60 decades of time and space, as always in the diary. And I have this week parked us on a particularly juicy rift in time and space, so we top up all that lovely Artron energy as we dip back through the last 60 odd years of Doctor Who history. We're going to start actually with a mention of a couple of birthdays today. Firstly, one that sadly we haven't got time to talk about, but we really should, and one of these days we genuinely will, and that's Douglas Camfield, who would have been 94 years old today had he sadly not passed away so many years ago at an age of only around in his early 50s. So Douglas Camfield, one of the great directors of Doctor Who, would have been 94 today. But somebody who is 85 tomorrow is another Doctor Who director who is not renowned as in quite such lofty terms as Douglas Camfield. Maybe he should be. Up to you to argue that one. And that is the one, John Black, who, as I say, is a director who will be 85 tomorrow. Happy birthday, John Black. Now, as I say, not quite as familiar a name as Dougie Camfield. John Black only directed 2 Doctor Who stories and also, of course, the K9 and Company spin-off, A Girl's Best Friend, as you can see on the right-hand side there. Yeah, he directed that. And he directed that having come straight off the back of having directed The Keeper of Traken. Both of those are in 1981, and then he continued. He did a trip. He carried on then into 1982 with 4 to Doomsday. that's in the first Peter Davison story, and actually the very first story that Peter Davison recorded as the Doctor. They shot For to Doomsday before they shot Castrovalva. So yes, he was illustrious in that he was the first director that Peter Davison worked with in that respect on a full story. So yeah, a little bit of backstory about John Black, because he is something of a mysterious figure, and there's actually very, very little on John Black out there. He's not easy to find information about. He was born in Malawi in 1940, and he's worked on a number of British productions, quite prestigious things like Coronation Street, Crown Court. How many times do we mention Crown Court in the diary? Every director. We do, don't we? Every director we seem to mention has worked on Crown Court. And of course, The Bill. And sure enough, John Black has indeed worked on The Bill. So yeah, he's done some stuff, but very often in the diary, I will say, "Oh my goodness, they've got a list of credits as long as my arm." Well, John Black has a list of credits about as long as my finger. I genuinely don't know really what happened to John Black. He's still out there. You can still he appears on some of the on the commentary for For to Doomsday, and he's also in a couple of documentaries on DVDs of things like For to Doomsday and the Keeper of Traken and Kano and Company. But he is a bit of an elusive figure, and there's not a lot on there about him out there in
Simon.
in
I could only
world.
find a couple of photographs of him from anywhere in his 85 years.
So if anybody out there is watching actually knows John Black or knows of him or can sort of, I don't know, somehow put us in touch, please, put us in touch. We'd love to have John Black on the show, because I have to be honest, what we're looking at the moment, For to Doomsday, it sometimes gets a bit of a raw deal. I personally love For to Doomsday. Do you love it, Gary?
I've always had enormous fondness for this story. Great concept, and probably my favorite Doctor Who title ever. I just love it.
Good, isn't it?
Doomsday.
Because you're intrigued from day one, aren't you? What for of what's to Doomsday? What is it? Yeah. It is. And it's a great cliffhanger ending at the end of episode 1, when enlightenment and persuasion suddenly re-emerge as something that walks straight out of an 80s glam show. Really, they look very, very 80s. But maybe that's why I love it so much.
It's the kind of evocative title we don't get anymore.
Yeah, quite right.
Hard to pin down. I mean, this is why I like the title of the story and the engine so much, because I can't quite work out what it alludes to. But I'm a massive Davison fan. He's very much my Doctor. I've been trying to love this story now for 43 years.
Oh, you still struggle with it, Dan?
It would be banned here in Australia now because of the cultural appropriation.
Oh, would it really?
It would.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Oh, right. Okay.
But okay, I mean, I would argue. I wouldn't argue with you, Matt. I would argue with the logic of that, because I wouldn't see that as cultural appropriation. The whole point of it is that they have lifted cultures and they are representatives of their culture on this spaceship. So it's not. It's not stealing culture; it's representing culture. But maybe I'm being a little bit ignorant on that.
The ABC would take umbrage with that.
Take exception.
Probably also because I'm guessing, I'm not sure about the actor involved, but whether or not he was Aboriginal. But I'm guessing he's probably not around anymore, and they're quite funny about having images of deceased Aborigines now.
Okay.
So. It's a landmine nowadays.
I think what I like about For to Doomsday, and this kind of shows it, I love the design of it. I think it's a very atmospheric story. Okay, it is a little bit hokey. Some of the special effects are not even worth discussing here. But I love the design. I love the music. I love some of the model work. And the same then can be said of the Keeper of Traken. I love the Keeper of Traken. I love the design of that. It's very atmospheric. I think what John Black does very well in these two stories is he's very good at creating what filmically is called a mise en scène, which basically, it's a French term that basically means he creates a world and that is believable, and everything works within that world, and everything fits aesthetically and narratively, and that's what I think John Black brings. Does anybody else love Petrarchan?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love it.
What's impressive, it is what you said to do with the world building, like the fact that you by the end of it, you sort of feel like you've got to know this society.
Yes.
So then, because you've got that attachment, the whole aspect of what happens to Nessa's dad.
Yeah.
You sort of, I think he needed to do that, so then the impact worked with the dad.
Yeah.
If you didn't care about the people, you didn't care about the society, then it would just be, that's a shame. Like, that would sort of be the expression you would have. But you think, God, no, this is quite devastating for everybody involved.
I remember it being first run here, and because I was so used to repeats, when it finally did get its first run here, I was absolutely terrified of that statue.
Yeah, the Melka.
Really
It's a cracking design, and I think it's beautifully directed. Interestingly, it seems that John Black came to be working on the show because he was in a relationship at the time with the costume designer Amy Roberts, who was going to be working on The Keeper of Traken, and she recommended him. She recommended him to John Nathan Turner as a good director, and John Nathan Turner took him on. And as I say, I would, I think it was a good call. I'm not sure why he didn't go on to do more Doctor Who's, because certainly at that time in the 80s, if you were recognized as a good director, you would be kept on by the production team. They would reuse you, unless there had been a problem, or unless you'd, in the case of somebody like Lovat Bickford on the Leisure Hive, just overshot the budget enormously. So maybe there was problems backstage that we don't know about. I don't know, but John Black talks very candidly and openly and happily on the various commentaries and documentaries that he's involved with on the DVD range. So I see no reason why that there should have been any problem there. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he just slipped out of the industry. Who can say?
Despite my sort of problems with 40 Doomsday all this time, I think you're right. How you've described it there, Simon, about the world, if not world building, then certainly creating an entire sort of culture and making it seem very immersive. Yeah, that's not something that every Doctor Who director could do so effectively. So it is surprising he didn't go back. I wonder what that was.
I mean, the one thing that I would say about the 40 Doomsday, and have this in your brain when you're next watching it. One thing I think he does very, very effectively is actually, I do believe I am on a spaceship somehow within the confines of that TV Centre studio. They do somehow manage to convince me. I never think I'm looking at a studio. I always think, no, this is a spaceship. It effectively really feels like we are on a spaceship. As I say, there might have been troubles backstage. Don't know. According to Ian Sears, who of course played Honking Brendan in K9 and Company, Ian Sears claims that John Black was not very well respected on set and was given the nickname John Grey instead of John Black. So yeah, there he is. There's Honking Brendan on the right hand side. So who knows? Maybe there was some problems, but that in itself seems odd, because 40 Doomsday was made after K9 and Company, so I wouldn't have imagined that John Nathan Turner would have invited Mr. Black back if he hadn't done a good job on the two previous productions. But there we go. I was thought there, and I love K9 and Company. I think this is beautifully directed. Beautifully. Okay, again, it's a bit hokey, it's hammy, we know that there are problems with it, etc. But I just love K9 and Company. I think it's very, very well directed for what was quite a difficult production to get right. I think he does a cracking job, personally.
You could say that it's no excuse, obviously, for the failure of the project. I mean, that's another story, isn't it? But you could say he was handed, if not a poison chalice, that it was a very tall order. What was expected of him, and so I think he just got in there and did the job, the kind of job that he would have done whatever. whatever was hinging on this, he just treated it like any other job. And I think that that story in itself, that 50 minutes is also similarly immersive.
Yeah, totally. And again, I think he creates a good world there. He is a good world builder. I really do believe that. And yeah, I think he really throws himself in. There he is. I'm trying to think which one is going to be John on that left-hand photo. I think it's the guy in the red body warmer. I think that might be John Black shooting the title sequence, of course, for K9 and Company there. And I think you're right, actually, Dan. I think it was a poisoned chalice. In all honesty, so it was a tough gig to get right. And he was launching a series, let's not forget, he was launching a series. Okay, it never came to pass, but that was the intention. So John Nathan Turner entrusted him with what was a pilot episode for a brand new series. So he wouldn't have done that lightly. And I think it's got a very light touch, K9 and Company. I love it.
It was one of JNT's sort of pet projects, wasn't it? So yeah, strange setup.
I mean, and to be given the job of helming the first Davison story to go before the cameras is not nothing either.
No, exactly, Gary. So say John Nathan Turner clearly had some sort of faith in him. So yeah, as I say, I think he's a cracking director. I think it's a shame he didn't go on to do more. Rob Alexander commented on the beautiful Art Nouveau sets in The Keeper of Traken, and again, that was all down to not just John Black. Of course, it was down to the design team as well that were working collaboratively, but it was brought together by John Black as the director, who had overall creative control of it, and that was why the whole, as I say, it's down to that world building, the Art Nouveau stylistics, just and aesthetics, just sort of the whole story is seeped in that. And it's unavoidable, and it works beautifully as a result. It was a good call. I think they also used Klimt, the Klimt painting as the inspiration, and again you can see that within the Keeper of Traken and the ending of the Keeper of Traken for anybody that hasn't seen it. So we won't spoil the ending with the Keeper of Traken if you haven't seen it, but the ending is just absolutely. I remember as a how old was that at the time? About 11 years old at the time. My jaw just hit the floor. It's just a beautiful ending. Love the story. Love it.
What a twist.
Yeah, absolutely. So happy birthday to John Black, who, as I say, will be 85 years old tomorrow. Wherever you are, John, I'd love to think that you might get to see this. Somebody might point you in the direction of it, because it is we are appreciating your craft, sir, and get in touch and we'll get you on the show. But happy birthday. I hope you have a lovely time out at Pizza Express or wherever it is you're heading to tomorrow.
Places are available.
Yeah, absolutely. Quite. Thank you very much for that, Charlotte. So those are our birthdays for today. Now we've gone a little bit backwards, because I'm now going to just dip into a couple of the episodes that were screening this week in years gone by, but we haven't got time to talk about any of them for years that will become very, very apparent. Yeah, I'm sorry, Patrick, to disappoint you. The War Games was barely reaching the midpoint in 1969 with episode 4. Inferno episode 1 began way back in 1970, and of course that was directed, at least episode 1 was directed by the great Douglas Camfield, who we mentioned a few minutes ago. He was taken very ill on that project and sadly had to retire from it, and Barry Letts stepped in as director. But Inferno episode 1 was, as I say, just starting. What else? Revenge of the Cybermen episode 4. So season 12, the revered season 12, Tom's first season, was finishing back in 1975, and Nightmare in Silver was screening in 2013 in the anniversary year. I was lucky enough, I'll name drop here horribly, I was lucky enough to be on set for some of Nightmare in Silver, so I got to see some of the filming of that. That was great fun to be involved with. And way back in 2005, season 1, of course, was The Long Game, which was a kind of a bit of a divisive episode. And here we go, deep breath. Of course, that involved the mighty Jag Professor, the Holy Hadrajasic Max Eroden foe. Come on! Get in there! Come on, Simon Pegg, I can do better than you. So there we go. So those are some of the episodes. But I tell you what was screening. Back in 1971. This very day, today in 1971, was episode 5 of Colony in Space by the late and very, very great Malcolm Hulke, in my estimate. I struggle with Colony in Space. I have to be honest. It's far from one of... Do you like it, Matt?
Yeah, I like it. I didn't mind it at all.
Have you watched it, Luke? Have you seen this one?
Yeah, it's fine. I love me a bit of Delgado. I also love me a bit of the Crispy Master as well. So, Keeper. I remember first watching Keeper of Tracking. I got the box set, the DVD box set, and I was like,
"Oh yeah,
God, it's fantastic!" But no, Colony in Space, yeah, solid enough. I enjoyed it. Pertwee's my doctor. I absolutely love a bit of Pertwee. So yeah, I'm all for it.
I grew up with Pertwee in my very, very, very early days, so I totally agree with you. But so I say, yeah, Colony in Space episode 5 screening in 1971. But forget that, we're not actually talking about Colony in Space episode 5 today. We don't have time because something far, far more important marks this very day. Because Colony in Space episode 5, exactly 54 years ago today, Charlotte, get this, today was the first ever appearance of what we now universally recognize as, in inverted commas, the classic sonic screwdriver.
Oh,
there they are. Those are what we think of as the classic sonic screwdriver. That sort of silver barrel design with a little bullet and the little ring at the top of it. And on the left hand side there, of course, you can see the true John Pertwee classic sonic screwdriver with the yellow barrel and the black bands around it. And it's exactly 54 years ago today that the first true John Pertwee sonic screwdriver was seen for the very first time in Colony in Space episode 5. But listen, buckle up, because there's a really interesting story that goes with this. It's far from just the sonic screwdriver appearing for the first time, because the prop itself had actually appeared in Colony in Space in episode 3 as a completely different prop. It had appeared in episode 3 as a sort of a futuristic, a little bit like what you've got now in your hands there, Luke, as a futuristic key. There we go. It was used as a futuristic key to unlock some handcuffs in episode 3 of Colony in Space. At that point, all it had was the silver barrel. It didn't obviously have the little pointy bit on the top. But there on the right hand side, you can see that is the first true appearance of, as I say, the classic sonic screwdriver as the Doctor and Joe are breaking into the Master's TARDIS. And it's a very, very brief appearance. That's it. That's all you get to see. There's no real close-ups or anything like that. But the really interesting thing behind all of this is where that prop came from, because you might be surprised to discover it's actually a Gerry Anderson prop. It came from, of all places, 2 places, Thunderbirds and Captain Scarlet, bizarrely.
Where else?
Of course, indeed. So what happened? The reason this came about is because in the late 60s and early 70s, the BBC Visual Effects Department bought a job lot of models and props from the Gerry Anderson studios that they then made use of. So, for example, you will see a lot of the spaceships appear in Frontier in Space. Those fantastic spaceships in Frontier in Space are all from the Gerry Anderson lot.
Yeah, I've never noticed that before, but I will now.
Now you watch Colony in Space, you'll be watching it. Sorry, Frontier in Space. You'll be watching thinking, yep, that's clearly Gerry Anderson. But also the Adjudicator's spaceship, the red Adjudicator spaceship in Colony in Space, if you can think of that again, when you watch that, you will very, very clearly see, oh boy, yeah, that's clearly from Gerry Anderson, as indeed it was. So what happens is Thunderbirds Are Go, the actual main body of what we now call the sonic screwdriver was just an ordinary screwdriver used in a live action shot from Thunderbirds Are Go, the 1966 film. So there you are. Do you remember this, folks, where on Thunderbirds they would every so often they cut from the puppets to a close-up of somebody's real hands, human hands? Do you remember? It always did it really stick out to everybody else like it stuck out to me?
Yeah. Yeah,
It
very
looked
much so. It definitely does.
It did look ridiculous, but there you are. You can very clearly see there on the right-hand side. That is the barrel from our beloved sonic screwdriver. You can even see the black. They've got the black, not the yellow tape, but they've got the black spiral at the top there. So that's the barrel of the sonic screwdriver that was used, as I say, by an actor's hands in a close-up live action shot of Thunderbirds Are Go. Well, now the top section, the most famous little bit, of course, the little bullet shape there was there with the ring round. That came from a Captain Scarlet episode called what was this called? Hold on, Model Spy. This is called Model Spy. There you are. So you can see it there. It's being held by Captain Blue, and it was used as a microphone. That was the idea. It was going to be a futuristic microphone that Captain Blue was talking into. So you can very clearly see there the little bullet with a little red circle, the little ringlet round it that Captain Blue is holding. People out there, if we were broadcasting this on April the 1st, people would think we were making this up. It was an April Fool. But it's all deadly true. So Captain Blue, of course, now obviously that's the right scale for a microphone, because these were sort of 24-inch high puppets. So it was all the correct scale. But when you put that little bullet and the red circle on top of the silver barrel that you can see on the right-hand side there, you get our wonderful, beloved, classic sonic screwdriver. And that's exactly what they did. So as I say, it appeared in Colony in Space first just as the barrel. Then they popped the extra little microphone from Captain Blue on the top, and there we have our sonic screwdriver.
I'll never think of anything different now.
You see, there you go. And now these images here, this was the first true famous appearance of the sonic screwdriver. As I say, that you've just seen was such a brief glimpse of the Sonic as it was as they were breaking into Tomas's TARDIS in 1971. This is, of course, from which story?
Sea Devils.
Correct. The Sea Devils from 1972. This is the first true kind of hero use of the Sonic, as it were. And by now, as you can see, they've been inspired enough by the black circles on it, the black spiral, to now put the yellow tape around it, and the black spirals have gone back on top, and they've also put some red tape on it as well.
They would have literally, as you're describing it, they would have just kept adapting that same prop rather than thinking, okay, this works, we'll go and purpose make one. They would have just kept adapting it.
No, they kept on adapting it, and incredibly, it stayed in the series until 1982 when it was blown up in the Visitation. So it's exactly the same prop for 11 years from 1971, the first appearance today, 54 years ago. And then, of course, it ended its life in, narratively wise, they obviously didn't blow up the prop itself. They blew up a plastic replica, but yeah, that was the last time it was seen, obviously in the Visitation in 82. So 11 years, it was the same thing. But yeah, Dan, what they basically kept doing was they kept adapting it, because of course by the time as we're looking at there in the Visitation, the yellow tape, the black stripes, the black spiral has all gone. So it kept on changing. Kept on changing and adapting. They'd put tape on, they'd take tape off. There's shots in Robot where it's literally the little bullet attachment at the top is literally bent at sort of 45 degrees. It's in such a poor state. So they kept on just rejigging it, rebuilding it, repainting it, so on and so forth, reworking it until, as I say, 1982. And very, very sadly, nobody knows where the prop is now. It vanished mysteriously from the Doctor Who production office in the 1980s. Who can say where that prop would be? But it's out there somewhere. Somebody has that prop. I think it's unlikely that it got dropped in a bin. I think
Ian Levine might be using it to sort of unblock his sink or something like that.
Wouldn't that be awful? Wouldn't that be somebody?
I bet you Peter Davison has it.
Say again?
I bet you Peter Davison has it.
Could be, maybe.
When I asked you, Simon, about adapting it, I mean, I meant like during the Pertwee era, but once they knew it wasn't just something they sort of concocted and it served a purpose in one or two stories, we're going to keep it. The idea that it's the exact same prop all the way through to 82, I would never have expected that.
Same one. It's remarkable, isn't it? And isn't it such a shame that it has gone missing? Because I mean, that prop is truly it is historic. Because who doesn't
belongs in a museum?
That it does belong in a museum, Matt. You're quite in a glass case, all on its own. All on its own.
It's not just Doctor Who history; it's TV history.
It's TV history. Well, of course, we still talk. I mean, come on, who doesn't love that classic design of the sonic screwdriver? Who doesn't love it? Am I the only one that just thinks it's beautiful?
Oh no, I think it's my favorite version of the Sonic. It really is.
I agree.
None other has compared, as far as I'm concerned.
I agree totally, Matt.
And I think as well, it stands out so much because Modern Who went out of its way to sort of give each Doctor their own version.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And it got flashier and flashier.
Yeah,
and I don't like that.
Yeah, and then you could it started out quite simple, and then I've always said this, for me, Matt, it worked because his Doctor was all over the place, so to have that sort of Sonic, especially because he was really good physically with it. He was one of the New Who Doctors that he didn't just use it to point at stuff. He was very good at flourishing it and doing little hand movements. So much that apparently people spoke that Matt was constantly breaking them. Like,
yes, apparently
so many Sonics, it's ridiculous.
Apparently so. Luke, is that a Sonic that you've got there?
No. I don't know where it could be.
Do show us the Sonic. Do show us the Sonic.
It is a metal version. So
wow.
So there you go.
That's great.
We need to see a bit more of that. So that is metal, is it? That is a metal Sonic.
Yeah. So it's from the Who shop. It's from the Who shop. I got it years and years and years ago. I got a proper metal version. So clunk people on the head with it.
That's fantastic. So out of interest, is that your personal favourite design of Sonic as opposed to some of the more modern ones?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's just sleek. It looks alien. It looks classic, and it goes with. Yeah, I think the redesign of the Sonic as well when it passes, as Charlotte was saying, when it passes through different Doctors, is like. I'd liked it that it's all uniform as well. I know they differ slightly in the classic series, but only ever just. But it's still the same. It's the same one. It's the carryover.
It's recognisably so, and it's the same silhouette, and that's where I love. You've seen them all in that mug like that. They are there. They're all clearly the same screwdriver, but just slightly different, and that's what I love about it. By the way, I do want to tip my hat to a website that has this wealth of information. This is where I dipped into to get all this. Once I knew it was the anniversary of the Sonic Screwdriver, I went searching and I found a website that I'm going to give you the address of now. So anybody that wants to go and look up more about this, there's so much more information on there. And they do sell, well, they certainly used to sell them. And it's a company called Rubbertoe Replicas. They used to sell Sonics. I think, again, they were metal. That might be yours that you've got, Luke. I don't know. It might be a Rubbertoe. But they are beautiful, beautiful versions of Sonics. They cost a fortune at the time. I think they're mostly sold out now. I don't think they're very easy to track down. But I do, as I say, I'm beholden and grateful to rubbertoereplicas.com. So if you go on rubbertoereplicas.com/4th, and that's 4th as opposed to spelling it out, 4th -Sonic-screwdriver. All of the information is on there. As I say, I salute you guys for the research you've done into it, because it is meticulous in its detail, and there's far more on there than I have time to tell you about on the diary. So go and give them a hit and have a look and drop them a line and say that you saw it on Type 40 and that you enjoyed reading about it, because it's a fascinating history. Who would have thought that the Sonic had all that history behind it? There we go. So happy 54th birthday to the true classic Sonic Screwdriver.
The classic one. Yeah. Demorpin says, I love how this little prop had its own full life story. Would make a great mystery story. Well, certainly whatever happened to it would make a good mystery story.
Yeah. Somebody knows.
I'd follow that. Of course, I knew somebody was going to bring this up. Richard Brooks says, I like the Pat Troughton one as well. Yes, we are duty bound to say, no, it wasn't the first.
No, correct.
Troughton used it first.
Absolutely, Fury from the Deep, and then the War Game, various places. But no, as I say, this to me is what we think. There we go. That is the true classic screw that just used to unscrew screws. Can you imagine it? That's all it did.
Yeah,
that's all it did.
They've never gone back to that, have they? With all the bells and the whistles, the things that rotate, light up, and make all these various.
I always like
doors
to
open.
joke about it, you know, oh, are you going to erect a cupboard? You know, it's like, it's the only thing you would use it
That's
for,
all you could do with it, Matt. That's all you could do with it.
Another fabulous story from Doctor Who's past. Props, costumes, sets, you name it. Simon covers it all here from the Doctor Who diary. I mean, I couldn't believe it when you told me about this. Yet again, you pulled another great story behind something, I wouldn't say something mundane, but I suppose something that we just think, well, a couple of guys
take for granted
out in some workshop somewhere one afternoon. You know, it's just Doctor Who. Yeah, and there it is with all that history. What a great diary, Simon. Thank you so much. I mean, I hope you've seen some of the comments here. People have loved it as much as I have. A classic, says Lord Thoth. A pen torch is all you need, says Richard Wood. Pen torch.
Brilliant.
The genesis of the Sonic. Peter Harrington says, I'm sure Jerry Anderson got a little upset with his son because he preferred Doctor Who to Thunderbirds. Yeah, I wonder what Jerry thought of
all true.
All
true.
Suppose he wouldn't have minded as long as he got paid. Jack Thursby's just joined us. I just made the diary. I have the rubber toe 4th Doctor Sonic screwdriver, and it's such a great little prop. I'd love one. Now I've seen Luke's. You know, you do wonder how much weight they've got to them. Yeah,
quite weighty. It's quite weighty.
Yeah,
it's cool. Yeah, love the design.
Very cool. If you ever want to get rid of it, Luke, just chuck it in my direction.
Knocked it out of the park again, Simon, says Matthew Pounder. And Lord Thoth wants to deputise you, Simon. There you go. As an inspector, he'd make a great detective. And great stories as always. We'll make sure the Rubbertoe replicas, that's the website you want to get over to as well. Vanessa Laws in the live chat too. Trenton had the flute. He didn't really need a fancy Sonic. Anyway,
quite right.
Happy with these flutes, happy with these diaries, Simon, and we're always happy with yours as well. Thank you so much for everything for John Black, for the Sonic, everything that we've covered on this selection, and an embarrassment of absolute gold. And what should people do if they've enjoyed it as much as we have, Simon? What should they do?
Like and subscribe. And now I'm going to say good night as well to Charlotte. Charlotte is disappearing from us, so good night, Charlotte.
It's bedtime.
See you Saturday.
See you Saturday for even more.
Let's see what we get, folks, after last week. Let's see what we get on Saturday.
Better you than me. Aye.
Bye-bye.
Don't have nightmares, Charlotte. Yeah, see you later.
And I was going to say, it just there's just something that's so right that the Jerry Anderson oeuvre turns out to be so closely tied to Doctor Who. That just feels right to me.
Jerry Anderson, Gary, used to get a little bit miffed that Doctor Who was such an enormous success, and he just couldn't understand it. And in a way, as big as all of his shows were, Thunderbirds and that, they never quite hit the zeitgeist in the way that Doctor Who did. And I think he was always a little bit miffed about it. He just couldn't understand it. But his legend of his own lunchtime is Jerry Anderson. So yeah, you're quite right, Gary. It's nice to have that connection there.
And so are you, Simon. So are you. Yes, you're watching Type 40 Live on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X. Whatever happened to that original Doctor Who Sonic screwdriver prop? Maybe we'll never know. Maybe somebody had it away. Maybe they bided their time and waited until the early 80s. Who knows? Who knows? Flying the flag on VE Week, no less, for the talent, dedication, and wealth of creativity out here in the Doctor Who fandom. It's second to none. And so there's never any shortage of pretty pictures to distract us from our duller everyday lives. At Type 40 Live, we've always done what we can to encourage and showcase Doctor Who fan art and fan artists in this, our virtual gallery. It's all in a bold effort to fill up these walls. Really, they're big, they're grey, they're horrible, and there's too many of them. Where is it? There it is. Where are you? They're massive, these TARDIS walls. When I can cue up the picture, sadly.
I thought the TARDIS looked beautiful on Saturday. The lighting, I thought that was the best that TARDIS has ever looked. I was like, Jesus. Sorry, someone will kick off me saying Jesus. I thought it was beautiful. Someone left last time, so I said Jesus, and they were like, he says it too differently. Yeah, but I thought the TARDIS was beautiful. I was like, if it looked like that the entire time, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But yeah,
they should take advantage of all the tech in those various bulbs. Not leave it like this, for heaven's sake. There we are. Yeah, so we want to fill up these walls with virtual jaw droppers. Traditional or digital art is fine. Cosplay, model making, any kind of crafting. It's all fair game to join our virtual gallery here. And yet, in light of the fact of what we've just been looking at, I thought we'd get something Sonic up here. So check this out. This was from Flock Creative. And yes, this reminds us really of not all of them, but a substantial sort of chunk of the various Sonics, some of the most distinctive designs and variations, particularly those early models there. As you were saying there, Simon, how they added bits of tape or took bits of tape away. There was various bands and things, changed colour, changed size and emphasis in those early days. We moved there to the Eighth Doctor's Sonic there from the Big Finish stories, and then into the new era too with the Eccleston Tennant and Matt Smith Sonics. So I always think it's pretty cool when I see Sonic Screwdriver sort of laid out like this, bookended with Troughton's pen, his Papermate version.
Yeah, isn't it lovely? So is the Mark IV one, I'm assuming, is that the McGann movie? Is that?
Oh, that's a good question.
It'd have to be, wouldn't it?
The McGann movie doesn't have yellow on it.
No, well, I didn't think it did. But which one is it then, Luke? Because after the Visitation, it doesn't appear again in the classic series, and then once you get into it's not Eccleston's, is it?
I mean, could it be that a primary colour's been used for the illustration, but that McGann's had got a sort of slightly bronze or golden look to it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Some of the bronze gold railings in his TARDIS.
Don't know. I'm intrigued by that. I just genuinely cannot think for the life of me now what the McGann Sonic looks like.
Now you've mentioned it.
It's just silver with a red bullet. That's it. The McGann one is just silver with a red bullet. Yeah. From what I remember.
I wonder what they've seen. That we haven't.
Yeah, must be missing something there.
Ian Scales asks, "Is Luke back in a onesie?"
Absolutely, I am. Absolutely.
Quite right, too.
The Matrix Lord asks, is David Tennant growing back his sideburns? We don't know. I have to ask him. I love this, says Richard Brooks.
I like it.
Happy to help. The new Sonic sucks, says Matrix Lord. I don't know. I mean, I don't like the current one, the Shooting Outward one, but all these, I love them. Pretty picture time. Yeah, pretty pictures all around. Okay, the first four are the best, says Richard Brooks. You know what?
Yeah, they are. Yeah. I agree. I agree.
I love the Matt Smith one. And really, when the Christopher Eccleston one, I went and bought one of those like immediately. But now I think as I'm getting a bit older, I'm starting to harken back to my youth even more. And yeah, give it the classic. Give it the classic any day.
Great picture, Stephen.
It is, but it is just the simplicity of those. Well, as I say, what I call the classic, that classic look. It's just the simplicity of it. I think it was a real shame, personally, to go away from it. I think they had a beautiful design there. There was no need to redesign it. Yeah, bring it up to date, etc. But I just think it was. I thought it was a beautiful design.
They were always saying that in the newer series that the sonic screwdriver was born from the TARDIS, so they were one and the
Oh,
same.
really?
So
No, I don't like that.
yeah,
Don't
right,
like that.
way back to the Eccleston era. Eccleston would say that it's from the TARDIS, and then of course they all started giving birth to sonic screwdrivers.
Just a bit silly. It's just a bit silly, but there we go.
Just a selection there of some Sonics from Flock Creative. You can go and get this over on Instagram. And I think they've got an Etsy art page as well. So there's lots of these sort of line illustrations and diagrams, schematics, that kind of thing. And quite nicely presented as well. So you can get them as prints and things like that and put them on a canvas. That's what goes on over there. Obviously, a lot of the attention in the fan art world has been focused on the latest episodes of Doctor Who again this week. So just like last week, I've brought a couple of what I think are the best ones before you, and you can decide which ones you like the best. Now, first of all, in celebration of Lucky Days, this piece from Blue Box Artworks, centered around that 50p piece that Conrad is given by the Doctor. That he finds it in the alleyway, doesn't he, Luke? And there's that sort of transaction there. And what what Blue Box has done, is used that to arrange 50p pieces to frame the various characters and scatter the desk with there's a cup of coffee with the Doctor's face in. There's one of those screethy sort of monsters reflected off the coin. There's lots of little details here. Smartphone with Kate Stewart on it, and the words "Don't trust him" circled in red. So
are you sure they weren't trying to take you off, Dan, with the microphone and that?
Someone messaged me about that, and I laughed it off at the time. But, no, I like the kind of 3D glasses quality to this as well, but it's slightly sort of juddering too.
Yeah,
so
they've
that's
taken
one.
out some colours in that one.
Blue Box art. I'm not as square jawed as what's his name? Jonah thingy. So
he's
that's
watching
one
you.
Blue Box Artworks, and there's this one from Owen Ruthven. Now, I love Owen's work. I love the way he uses colour and pattern, and this really stood out to me. The green against the red as well reminds me of Wrigley Spearmint Gum. So that's not necessarily a bad thing, is it, Gary? So these are the two that really caught my eye. I mean, Ruby, it looks like she's been on the sunbed for a little too long, but no, I do love the choice of colours. And Liar sort of scrolled on, so it's a little more subtle, but not that much more subtle. But it's really energetic and kind of would almost make me want to go back and watch it again. You got the Screeth's teeth plastered in the green of the background there. So yeah, I like this, but I can't decide which one I like the best, whether I prefer Owen's or prefer Blue Box's. So any thoughts? So, I mean, what do you think, Matt? As you're also a graphic designer, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I like both of them, really. I mean, they're a lot better than what the actual the official stuff looks like. And that's the thing with this, is the fact that the fans can do a lot better job than what, the people that are actually getting paid for this do, It looks nice. They look nice. I like the fact that they've gone a little bit arty with the colours. So, yeah. I
Richard
like
says
the plain
clever,
colours.
but I don't like it. Yeah, I'd rather people do interesting things like this with shape, with colour, with texture. That's what design is all about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good graphic design piece, I have to say. It doesn't make me think, ooh, what did I miss with this episode? I must go back and watch it, I have to be honest. But it's a good piece of design. It's a very nice piece of design, yeah.
How about this one, Simon? Did this stimulate anything in you? Does this stir you?
No. Again, it's a nice piece of design, good piece of work, but no, absolutely nothing in that makes me remotely interested in. Apart from "This Is a Fake" down the bottom, which just inspires me to think of the City of Death for obvious reasons.
Or
yeah,
the actual show itself currently.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think they've done something very clever there, Matt? Yeah, and you see, I still hate that unit logo, that new unit logo. Oh,
it's shit, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? I mean, you as a graphic designer, again, Dan, it is, isn't it? What's wrong with it? What is wrong with it?
It's so low effort. Well, that font, I mean,
low effort.
Yeah,
that's it. You're right. It's low effort.
The TV series 24 popularised a lot of those kind of fonts. I love 24. Don't get me wrong, but it was
NCIS.
made 20 years ago. And you're right, Matt. That show is also 20 odd years old. I just think that we could. We were talking about the Nigerian stuff earlier on and the production design there. And Unit is just a story. There's just as much heritage in that. I think they should lean on the Britishness of that a lot. Yes, yeah, of course it is United Nations, but let's be honest. No matter how many accents they put on staff at Unit, it's very, very mannered, very, very British. And that only stands out more. The more they try and compensate for that, I would lean into that completely, that kind of man for the ministry kind of feel.
Yeah.
Universal exports at James Bond and all that. It's part of that. It's not part of Jack Bauer and CTU. Gary, I blame you lot for all of this, or your colonials.
I was a big 24 fan too.
Oh, fabulous! I could watch it all again.
Now I was just going to say about these two posters. I think the colors on this one pop more, but I like the design of the first one. The first one doesn't seem as photoshoppy.
Yeah, it does look a bit cut and paste. It does look a bit.
Not taking anything from Owen's efforts, but the other one, there's more to kind of examine and look around and kind of examine the design in this one.
There we are. So between us, we can't seem to decide, Simon. That's the conclusion we've come to. So get in touch. You can find both Blue Box Artworks and Owen Ruthven. Am I pronouncing that correctly, Luke? Ruthven?
I can't see it. Yes, I'm just gonna say yes is fine. I won't correct it.
You can get in touch. You can, oh god, yeah. Get in touch with both of them over on X. Tell them that you like their work. Give them a bit of encouragement or constructive criticism, and tell them that Type 40 Live sent you. But we're being sent back, not back in time as such, back to Peterborough. Back to Peterborough, and to look at this. This is from Nathan Murdoch. Now, this is graffiti artwork to tie in to that exhibition that we were talking about at the top of the show. Awesome. Do you remember?
So, do you think this has been sort of officially commissioned by them to tie in? This is not something that somebody's just done at 3 o'clock in the morning by the light of a cigarette lighter.
I don't think. I know it has. It has been commissioned as part of this sort of celebration of Doctor Who at Peterborough, from Peterborough County Council, City Council. It would be City Council. Of course, it would be. There's what looks like John Barrowman inside the actual tunnel. There's a picture of him there. But on either side, there are Doctor Who monsters, stalwart Doctor Who monsters that even members of the general public will recognise. Look at that close-up of the Cyberman there in this picture from Nathan Murdoch.
Wow.
That's astonishing.
It is. It's brilliant. That is beautiful.
Especially look at that. If you look at the wall, how the wall breaks, and then it looks like the wall almost slopes at one point. And yet, even with the wall taking that break and not being an even wall, it looks flawless.
It is.
Fantastic Dalek and Cyberman art. Matthew Pounder hopes they weren't arrested, Simon, because that does happen.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's why it was all done very, very officially. That would have taken quite a while to do, wouldn't it? Wow. You don't do that in 5 minutes.
That would take days, suggests Richard Brooks. It would have been authorised. Yeah, I'd say it would. Wow, from David Jenkins. Love it, says Ezra Goldstein.
Yeah, I just love the light on the Cyberman, and that's. Oh, I can see now. That's where. So yeah, you're right, Gary. That's the wall goes through 90 degrees again. So it's quite clever the way they've managed to get the gun stick and the sucker on to go around the corner. It's clever, very good.
This is cool. I mean, there was a lot of cool stuff in that exhibition, and I don't know where this would be in relation to that. If it's near the train station, if people want to get there by rail and they get off the platform and they walk on underpass and they see this would zhuzh you up a bit, wouldn't it?
Shame about the bag of rubbish there on the left-hand side.
Well, but I mean, look at the shade. Look at the shading. It's not on the top and on the rings. It's not just brown. I mean, there's gold into brown, into kind of burnished gold, into all the shading on the rings is just mesmerizing.
The only thing that I'd pick fault with that I'm disappointed is that they didn't use the proper font for the exterminate. You needed that old 60s angular Dalek font.
TB21. Yeah, there you go.
in a stencil of some kind. Tony Farrell's in the live chat. Big T himself is back, and he says there's a video of it being painted up on YouTube. So I was going to check that out. I'd really like to see.
Thanks, Tony. We'll have a look at that.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So yeah, these are the photographs are by Tony Harris, but the artwork is the work of Nathan Murdoch. So all of these are up on the social medias for the Adventures in Space and Time exhibition there from Peterborough's art exhibition. So Art Museum. So if you go and connect with them, and you can go and see more, and tell them to get in touch with Type 40 as well. We'd like to speak to them, maybe get some free tickets, so they could give us an exclusive look around for us and for you in the live chat on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X. How could we not celebrate that terrific bit of? I'd say if it's unofficial, it absolutely counts as fan art, and we want more. We want more. We want more, and you can help. Yes, you. If you reach out to us through our social media, that's Instagram and X at Type 40 Doctor Who, as always, or join us in the Type 40 Facebook group. Cut out the middleman and plaster those walls instead with lots of fabulous artwork, and make sure to name the artist, to tag them, and let us know where we can find more of their work, so we can get in touch and say thank you and give them some encouragement as well, because it means a lot to artists, doesn't it, Matt, when they get spurned on and constructive critique?
Yeah, constructive critique. You don't want to get me on a bad day, that's for sure.
Speaking of constructive critique,
you do better.
Speaking of constructive critique, you can get involved with Type 40 and Type 40 Live if you leave us a message on SpeakPipe. So that's for the podcast and the live streams. You can leave us a message, a question, any kind of feedback at all, predictions maybe for what's to come, not just in the rest of this season of Doctor Who, but generally throughout the Whoniverse. And we'll get back to you too. What's next? This. It continues in just 2 days' time, 2 nights' time, morning's time, depending on where you are with the story and the engine. Episode 5 of this season of Doctor Who is on the way. So, we're not quite in the final straight yet, but it's coming. He's got to get home. He's got to get home somehow. And on Type 40 Live, we're going to bring you more instant reactions to another all-new adventure as soon as we can make it back here to the mics and the cams. So get notified there, hit the cloister bell, and you won't miss Type 40 Live Engine Saturday from 8 p.m. across all platforms, as always, where we'll be dragging in our friends from across podcasting and YouTube and fandom in general for a chat in the there and then about what we've all just seen and help one another through. It's kind of like a round table support group some nights. Other nights, it can be a bit of a celebration. I think most of us enjoyed The Well, for example. Even Dom going the live chat loved The Well. So, results do vary, of course, but that's very much the beauty of Doctor Who fandom. And if things don't go quite so well, then we can help one another through. That's how I like to look at it. So join us then for more of the hottest of takes directly as we're processing it. Another cracking conversation and terrific show, everybody. Thank you so much. As always, thank you to Charlotte Shields. They're still tucked up by now. Hopefully not dreaming of spiders. I'd like to think she isn't. She isn't anyway. And we'll be seeing more of her in a couple of days, I don't doubt. Luke, great to have you back, mate. Back on these shores, obviously, bringing with you the spoils of war.
Show off. It's got to be done.
Thank you. And I just found out Man United won 4-1, so I'm gonna have a fun day in work tomorrow doing the United podcast. So they're in the final. So luckily I'm off after the final next week, thanks the Lord. So thanks for having me on, and I'll do a little absolutely loving life. I'm gonna catch up with my trophy and watch Revenge of the Cybermen. That's my evening then.
Brilliant. Episode 4 screened tonight, way back in 1960.
See, it doesn't even need the diary. It just comes out.
I love that story.
It just comes out.
Fantastic.
Again, Luke, congratulations to you and everybody who works on these films, the actual films themselves and the web series. And yeah, we can't wait to see what you've got coming up next. You'll always get our support here at Type 40 and Type 40 Live. Gary, the minty fresh Gary Akers, made it through another one,
sir.
mate. Yeah, great to have you on. Fun as always. You ready for more come Saturday?
Oh yeah, I'm already mentally getting together all my engine puns already if I need them, like out of gas, things like that.
Stalled.
Oh, can I take that? Can I borrow that one, Simon?
Yeah, you can have that one for free,
Okay.
Gary.
Thank
Just
you
remember
very
to credit
much.
me for it.
Thank you.
Oh, God,
He'll be too busy in the Vatican to watch Doctor Who, so he's too busy running the Catholic Church. So.
Pope Gary, has there been a Pope Gary before, Gary?
I don't know. You know what? Maybe one day, the camera will go to me and it'll just be like the smoke coming up that shows that I've been elected. Coming out of the chimney.
Quite right, too.
Until that day, we hope you can still sort of slum it with
there
us.
There you go, like that.
Matt Potts, thanks for getting up for us, as always, mate. Good to have you aboard. As our real-life time traveller, of course.
I'm feeling a bit inspired. Yeah, I feel like I need to write a story about the Doctor meeting a killer giraffe, so yeah.
You're quite right too.
You know what?
Absolutely.
Since you mentioned it, people have been talking about it in the live chat continually ever since. So yeah, there could be demand there, is what I'm saying.
I'm onto something,
Yeah,
Russell.
I think you are.
If he turns you down, pal.
Commission him to write a story.
Here's your title, Matt. Spots of Doom. There you go.
If he turns you down, go to Kickstarter, get an unofficial graphic novel of it on the go with all the giraffes and stuff. Yeah, it could be good. Could be good. I'd buy that. I'd back it.
I'll call him Mr. Who.
Yeah. No one will ever know. Sounds legit to me, mate. Sounds legit to me. What do we talk about on this show? Okay, yes, and Simon Horton, as ever. Yeah, happy V-Day to Simon Horton. And yeah, thank you again for not just another great diary, but your company, your support, your friendship, and everything else you bring to Type 40 Live. I know you flit around through the in and out of your own sort of time windows, don't you?
I do. I don't know where I am and when I am.
I can never remember which weeks you're here and which weeks you're not. But I like
neither
to
can
people
I.
guessing as well. Excellent stuff. Oh yeah, we've got more comments coming in as we're about to dematerialize. Vanessa Law's confused. Giraffe. Yes.
Go back and watch it, Vanessa.
Yes.
Yeah. Where were you, Vanessa?
Hearing is believing. That's the thing. Okay, yes. So if you haven't been able to believe your ears this time, we're going to do it all again in a couple of days' time. That's Saturday from 8 again UK time. Join us, some of the regulars, and some specially invited guests to take in the story and the engine, process it, and give you our instant reactions right here and right now, as always. So make sure you're here. You're here for that. We always have the time. If you have the space here at Type 40 Live, we'll see you again in less than 48 hours for even more. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.